early
Yeah,
this morning, eh?
it's a little early, but yeah, life is good. So we're at episode 57. This is another show with just me and Shan. We're going to be shooting the shit, and I think after over a year of podcasting, we've decided that we'll finally do a show about me because I've always told myself we'd do it eventually, and we've literally never done it. So we've done this show on Shan, so we got a pretty good history on him, but not on me. So I think today will be a bit on me, which is weird, but I think we'll get through it. I think it'll be fun. We are live and doing it at a different time than usual. We're Saturday morning here. It's nice and early, 8 in the morning, drinking coffee actually at the right time, not before going to bed, but when we wake up.
Right.
So it should be good. So start with you, Shan, man. How have you been? How's your week? Anything new?
Nothing too new. So few more have taken the bait and started eating. So some of the inlands have taken a few meals. So probably like 4 or 5 of them are starting to take a meal. I had to do some live. I did my first round of live rat pinkies, and I got a few more on board. All spotted, are all shedded, and I'm feeding them right now. And I have at least 2 that I've eaten so far. I haven't checked on all the other ones this morning, but yeah, it's looking good. That's pretty much it. Did a lot of cleaning, um, because did a lot of heavy feeding last weekend. Yeah, so it's good.
Yeah, sounds like a bit like me here, except I didn't do a lot of cleaning. I have a lot of cleaning to do. I went into the room this morning and I'm like, oh my God. I'm definitely falling behind. Every now and then, even if you've cleaned the entire room 3 days ago, you go in there and you're like, ah, God damn it. Everything went. Like my room right now looks like, it looks bad. It's the kind of day where you wouldn't let somebody come in and see your room. You're like, oh my God. But I feel like it's like that, right? Depending on when you feed, there's like that 24 to 48 hour interval where everything goes. They all pee, they all defecate right after. And yeah, so I think today's going to be a big clean day for me. I need to catch up at some point. Um, yeah, we're just switching the show around right now because my weekend's really busy and daughter's got way too many soccer tournaments and I'm trying to settle everything. So yeah, another
You
note.
ever, you
Sorry, go
ever
ahead.
have them? You ever have them clean, like you just cleaned up, and then all of a sudden they just take a big nice poop right after? It's like,
Yeah,
I just
it's,
cleaned up.
isn't that lovely?
Yeah, I know.
The
Eh,
only thing is I like that happens. Let's say you do like, I think everybody's got like their order of how they clean their cages, right? Like I got my old order and I know where I am and how much time I have left depending on where I am in the room. And like sometimes you'll be like, I don't know, on cage, let's say 30 on your third stack. And then the first stack, one of the big snakes just defecates everywhere. You're like, God damn it. But at least they're doing it while you're cleaning. So everything's already there and all that. And you keep going back. And yeah, that
Me,
happens all the time.
me,
All
it's
I think,
usually the second day I come back and
oh,
it's like, I just cleaned the cage. I guess moving them around sometimes might activate them, right? So anyway, it is
or
what it is.
they're just ungrateful.
Pretty much.
They're like all teenager snakes that just want to throw it back in your face every time.
Right.
Yeah. Happy to hear things are eating well for you, or at least starting to eat, especially since they're my troublemakers that I sent to you, which, by the way, I love our arrangement. It's just so great.
Yeah, sure.
um, yeah,
Apart,
except for that. Sorry, bro.
no, apart from that, what do you got going?
Oh, that's what I was going to say. I still got 2 clutches in the incubator. I checked on them again today. They're both clutches of jungles. Every single egg still looks perfect. The only thing I'm noticing is I don't know if you ever check the water level in your bins. So I've got one that I usually tend to put about an inch of water in the base, but if it goes down, it doesn't really matter. As long as there's water in there, there's going to be the same amount of humidity, right? The only advantage is the more water you have, the more I'm going to say stable it is. And by stable, I don't mean that it's any better than the other one. It's just that if ever you lose your heat or there's some kind of an interruption, the water is a really good, it's a buffer, right? So it holds temperature for a long time. So I've got one of my bins that's like down to, I don't know, man, like half an inch of water. Like it's just the bottom, it's still there. The entire bottom is still water, but I'm like, do I open it and I fill it? Do I not? And my fear with that is that often when you fill it, are you filling it with the same temperature water? If your
Mhm.
water is a little bit too much, and now I'm like, I think what I'm going to do is I was thinking about it is I'm probably going to just go fill up a good amount of jug of water and just put it in the incubator, leave it in there for 2 days, and then put it inside the bin
That's a
to
good
top it
idea.
off. Just a thought. Like I often
Just
worry about those things, right?
just don't put too much water, because I thought of that too, because I realized the same thing as you did, and then I added more water this year, and then I even made like kind of get the sponges kind of to soak up the water, and I went back a few days later, and some of my eggs were like almost, and I doubled light diffuser,
And the
and
water
the
went through.
water was almost at the egg, to the point where some got a little moist. I think they're okay. I lost a few off the Brettles there too.
That
But
kind of
yeah, no.
sucks.
But I think you'll be fine. Like, how many more days you got left, or what day are you at right now?
Is it bad that I don't know? Like I literally have
Yeah.
no idea. They've been in there for a long time, so
So what I would suggest is, probably you've posted it on Facebook that she laid eggs. Go from that and count certain amount of days and give
it's
yourself plus minus a few days, and there you go.
it's on the calendar
Oh,
that I
okay.
fake, so I could go look. I just don't know. Like each week I look and I haven't checked. The same token that I think I'm at the point where I probably need to start opening the bin soon because I don't think I've opened the bin in 3 to 4 weeks. So I tend to not do it a lot, and near the end I try to do it at least once a week. But
Mhm.
the problem is that I don't know if you're like that, but when we first used to have snake eggs, right? Like you'd be so excited, you'd be checking out the bins way too much, you'd be opening it all the time. Now it's kind of like, oh, there's just eggs there. They'll be fine. I'll check it. And I do so little. Like the amount of intervention that I do is less and less and less, and I kind of just let everything ride, and it works. The only thing is, I feel like opening the bin once a week in the last 2 weeks seems to be beneficial. I might be wrong, but so I think I'm in the last 2 weeks. So today, when I'll clean, I'll probably open the bin just once, just to take a quick peek. But for all you know, like when I look at our incubators, I think are pretty similar. They're just gigantic, like Coke vending machines from big stores that you remove the whole top refrigeration, and then you just reclose that up, and then you what do we do? We've got basically like heat tape, 12-inch heat tape going all the way around, and that, but the front is fully glass. So the advantage is I check up on my incubator all the time. Every time I'm in my room, I just, I can see the glass. I just take a flashlight and I can see right through the glass. I can see the egg bin. I can see the eggs. And I'd say I see maybe like 75% of the eggs. You can look in the front and you're like, they're all white. There's nothing rotting. There's nothing dimpling. It's all good, right? But you never actually see the back of the clutch. So I'm assuming the back of the clutch is good, but that's when I see that is you take out the bins and all that. The only thing is I don't like taking out the bins and really checking on them, because I'm sure it's the same thing with you. Even with the sponges, it slushes around, right? So you've got a little bit of water movement so you're always picking it up really gently, trying to make sure you don't move the eggs or they don't tumble. So again, I'm back to the usually less is more. Leaving them alone tends to do better. But then every now and then you've got those clutches that just for some reason nothing seems to be going right. You've got rotting, you've got issues. So I've had some of those clutches, but those two right now they're perfect. They well, the front of the clutch looks perfect. I'll leave it at that. So time will tell. Yeah,
That's great. Those are nice too. They're going to be nice snakes. I guarantee. The German and jungle stuff is always good. So I've even noticed now some of the, I don't. You have some of my German stuff. How's that starting to look now that they've shed it a few times and stuff? I've seen a few of mine over here. They're starting to kind of get a bit of that yellow and starting to get their colors now. All right. So no,
yeah. There's are all the ones you send me German lines? Are they
it might be mixed, but
might be mixed?
yeah.
Okay. Some of them look really nice. Some of them look a little bit more draped than I'd like them. That I think they might just not have shed or only shed once.
Yeah.
And others are like insane. Like, but it's the same thing with every clutch, right? You have some that are just so slow for some reason, some don't shed right away or don't look as nice, and others are like they've had 2 or 3 sheds and they look 1,000 times better. So now some are gorgeous. Like if I had to pick some holdbacks, I can already tell you which ones I'd take. But with jungles, I don't know, man. How many jungles do we really want in our collection? There's got to be a magic number. Like I'll be honest with you. I think this might be the first year where I will not hold back jungles. I might be wrong, but I've got a good amount growing up, and at some point, and don't get me wrong, I don't think I could have too many female jungles because, like like we probably over promise the amount of jungles we can give to everybody each year because we can't produce enough. So if we produce 80, they're pretty much all gone. So could we have more? For sure. Should I be holding back another? I guess I could, but at some point, like, I don't know. I don't know about you. I don't want my collection to be 25, 30, or even 40% jungles. Like I like to have a little bit of everything, and jungles are fun and I love them. But 3 or 4 breeding adults, I think, is the right number for me. I wouldn't want to have 8 to 10. And again, if we both had 8 to 10, I bet you we still could move them. And we'd probably be very successful reptile breeders, like making good money if we wanted to. But I think both of us are not in this for, I don't know, making tons of coin. I mean, money's nice, but I think we're just doing it for fun. Our jungles feed every single other project is the best way I can look at it.
Yeah, we both have full-time jobs, right? This is not our regular jobs, but it's good to have fun, right? Like you said, it pays the bills for
Never a
most of
bad
them.
thing. All right, you want to try to do the sponsor today, Shan? You gonna give it a shot?
Sure. Is there something I have? Like, is there a sheet or something, or
There's
like this
literally
is
nothing. You're just
no what?
you just wing it. So
All
I think
right.
you can do it. I'm gonna let you try to do it, and then we'll see
So you
how
want me to take this over, eh?
I'd love
So,
to.
uh, Reptile Rejects is sponsored by Cornell's World. Great caging enclosures. They can make custom stuff. It's basically PVC. They do glass work. I have some of their caging, really good stuff. So most of the people that talk about caging and stuff, it's all about warping. These cages don't warp. They do really well. They're nice and thick. They also have all your reptile needs, like uh, basically um, radiant heat panels. Sorry, I had a little moment. Probably heat tape and all that good stuff. They have a website. Go to it. Um, the other sponsor is the Canadian Western Reptile Breeders Show. I'm not sure if I said that right, but they do sponsor too. One of the biggest shows on the western side of Canada. Great show. Lots of
It
great
is
people
the
there.
biggest in Western Canada.
Yes. I think their next one is August 15th and 16th. There'll be a lot of great breeders and booths up there. I'm positive of that. So, yeah. How's that?
You know what? I'm gonna give you like an A plus. Actually, you know what? I'll give you an A minus, so you've got room for improvement. That was awesome.
I'll write it down next time and make it better.
I actually think that
I'll ask Chat GPT to make me something.
you probably could.
Hell yeah, you can do whatever you want with that thing.
Oh man,
Excuse me.
my kids find me so old. Like sometimes, like last
Right.
time, I've been trying to do certain things, and like they're like, I'm like, every time I ask somebody else to like use AI to help me with shit, and then my what was it? I think it was my son. He's like, just download the app. I'm like, is it really just an app? And that was it.
Yeah.
And like I fixed my boat, I fixed my engine, I fixed my computer. I was trying to transfer my data from my old iPhone to my new. Did it all. Like every time I had issues, it would tell me, and I'm like, this thing's
It
genius.
tells you what to do it.
Yeah, it tells me exactly
yeah?
what to do, how to fix it, everything. I've used it so much lately; it's been amazing.
So you tell me you don't use YouTube to fix your boat? Like I would use that.
I've
can look
tried,
up,
but YouTube can
doesn't
only
work?
get so far. The only problem I've realized is
Okay.
that using AI only gets you so far. You need to know a good amount of it to be able to use it. So like this is not snake related whatsoever, but like
Right.
if the like it told me certain things to change, like to fix the anti-siphon valve, to do this, to do that, to go check the fuel filter, and then to go to the
Okay.
fuel pump and such. And then I had a buddy that I finally got a hold of that then said, like, he's like, yeah, the anti-siphon valve, you actually don't really need it. Just knock out the ball right through, and then it resolves that issue if it is the issue. Like, getting it from a mechanic was a very different point of view. And then after that, he's like, yeah, don't even worry about any of those things. Get on the water, test it. As soon as it does this, do that and that. So I think it has its advantage, but I don't know. I think AI is great if you know what you're talking about, because often I find it gives you the wrong information. And if you don't know anybody, like I bet you if we talk to AI about how to breed, let's say, a green tree python or how to breed a carpet python, it probably could tell us a lot, but I bet you it would give us probably like 25% wrong information. And then you're like, and then it's funny, it's almost like if you teach AI, you'd be like, let's say it told you, I don't know, when you breed carpet python, you should feed them 3 rats a week. And you're like, actually, that's a lot. Nobody feeds 3 rats a week. It should only be once a month for females. And then AI will be like, oh, actually, you are right. Looking at this information, this one says that. So it all depends on where it gets its information. So I've always wondered if it could be helpful to our hobby, if there's things you could do, and I bet you it is, but I don't trust it. I think it gives you a lot of information. I think it leads you in the right direction, but it also gives you a lot of wrong. So if you don't know what you're talking about, it could lead you down definitely the wrong place.
So the one thing I've used it for lately, is I made a rat list. So basically, I bag my own rats and I sell rats on the side to kind of feed the hobby, you know. So I asked it, I wrote all the price list and everything down, and then I put it in Chat GPT and I told it make it look professional, and it freaking made it really nice, like spreadsheet. It had little mice and rats on the side, and it made it look really professional. Um, Another thing you can do, which I've been working on, I just haven't had a whole lot of time, is ask it to do a snake lineage, right? So, um, and
That's interesting.
ask it to do a snake lineage tree where you can plug in certain pictures, and it'll boom 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 send it to you, and then you can take that and then put up at the top, let's say, jungle carpet pythons, and start your lineage chart. Yeah, I mean, it is very possible to do, and I plan on doing that. Yeah,
I
it's
really, really like that idea actually because
right.
I've
I
always wanted to do snake lineage.
I have
I
to.
suck at handling pictures and computer stuff, man.
I'm not very good at the computer stuff, but the wife kind of did a little bit of a test trial with the snake chart, lineage chart, and it's doable. You have to have your pictures on your computer and then put them in there, and then probably put a little thing. Yeah, I've always been inspired by Nick Mutton's, like, his website, and his lineage tree is awesome for every snake that he has. Right? I just think that that's great, and I think we could probably use that, and it just make it nice and easy. You send
100%.
it you send it to a customer and say, hey, your snake comes from this snake here, right there, right? I don't know.
Oh, I think it's great. The only problem is, again, you still have to provide all the pictures and all that. But
Yeah.
providing the pictures, I can do. Anybody that buys an animal, it's like, yeah, I'll send you the mom. Here's the mom. Here's the dad. Here's the
Yep.
baby. And I, like you and I both, especially like certain animals, we could probably go 2 or 3 generations back just in the animals in our collection. The thing is, though, I tend to only give just the adult pictures purely on the fact that it's a lot of work, man. But if we had all these charts made slowly, like, man, if I was off work, maybe I should go and like break my leg or something and be off work for 3 months, and then I could have like actual time to catch up on all this shit. And then imagine I had all that done. I would love it because then all you'd have to do is always add the extra pictures, kind of like. I feel like that's where Nick Mutton is, right? Because he's got all his lineage charts for every single animal done, so he's just adding the new ones. But can you imagine the amount of time, the backlog to catch up on that? Like, it's insane. Like, and I look at it as just us. Like, let's say us together, we both, I think you had what, like 12, 13 clutches this year? I've had 9 or 10. If I had to do a lineage chart on 9 or 10 and have to go back, like each of them, I would say will probably take me an hour to an hour and a half just to gather up the pictures and do all that. Like, I don't know, man. Like, life is busy. I don't know. I'll be honest. I wouldn't be looking forward to it. And it's tough because most of our clutches, it's like, do I really need the lineage chart? Because we wholesale a lot, because we move a lot of our animals, and sometimes it's like you only need it for those few customers. Because I think you and I, what do you think? We sell maybe 5%, maybe 10% to the public. Not more than that. I don't think it's much more than that. Most of ours tend to just be moved in bulk because, again, our goal is not to optimize our profit and sell each animal for the highest profit. It's just to breed for ourselves, keep the prettiest one for ourselves, keep it going, and then whatever we don't want, just, move it. So,
yeah, what people don't understand is like we got to make sure we're ready for the next year. Like we said, Dom has a regular job, I have a regular job, and to have leftover babies every year, like in numerous amounts, plus having other clutches would make it out of hand. So this is why we kind of wholesale a lot of the stuff. Sometimes it's just better to get a little less and um, get them feeding, and then just straight away just send them out, right? And then there's no more taking care of that. And you know what? Taking care of less than 30, like 30 less babies every week is a lot of work. Like, think of the feeding, think of like all the cleaning, changing the dish, changing the paper towel or whatever people use on the bottom of their containers. But yeah, just think 30 less babies, like that's a 2-3 hours easy.
and I think that the other aspect that people forget is that not everybody's made for selling. Like, I'm not a salesman. I'm not into retail. It's not because I like breeding snakes that I like talking to people or that I enjoy like the endless conversations on MSN Messenger or on Instagram or all that. Like, I like it's not for me. That whole selling aspect is really not for me, and not that there's anything wrong with it. It's just that I am not a salesman. I am not into, because the best way I can look at it, if I want to sell a snake to John, reaches out to me and wants to buy a jungle, cool, okay. In order for that sale to go through with John, I've talked to 10 other people. Is the best way I can look at it. Like, 10 people reach out to me. 3 of them will ask me questions, then will ask me a million questions on how to take care of them. Then they'll just disappear once they have their answers. Then another 3 or 4 will ask me every single pictures, all the pictures of the other 10 animals that are available. Then once I send it to them, they'll be like, "Oh, I really like snake number 3 and number 7. Can you send me more pictures?" And you're like, "Fuck, man, like, how many pictures do you want?" Like, 5, 6. Then I go there and I just literally spam my phone, take every angle, send them another 15 pictures, and then they'll all ghost you after. And then, like, it's so much. Like, it's impressive. Like, I look at people that like tend to do pet stores or tend to sell continuously. Like, I feel like that's all they must do. Like, you often hear of people that have like big operations, and that's what they do. They have one person that's just in charge of pictures, replying to the texts and replying to and just doing the sales, doing the sales, doing the sales. I'm just not a salesman. Like, I don't get anything from selling a snake to a person. I don't get anything from dealing with all those emails, all those messages, all that. Like, it's just so much work. And some people, like, I've had this lady, and I think I ended up referring her to you, which I don't know if you've taken it over or not. But the amount of questions they asked me, it lasted a good 2.5 weeks. And then it's like, "I need you to do this test, this test, this test." And she wanted me to send her samples of their feces and all that so that she could test it at her own vet office and all that. And I was like, I don't mind doing it, but the amount of work that I got to do for that one sell for what, $300-400, cool. But if I wholesale 30 animals for, instead of $300-400 each, $200 each, man, it's so much easier. It's so much better. And yes, it's maybe I'm not optimizing my profit, but man, my time, like, it's just so much. So anyway, long story short, I'm a breeder. I love the animals. I love breeding them. I love taking care of them. I hate everything about selling snakes. it is just not me. And if I had like, can you imagine if we were like tied to like pet store A or wholesaler A or things like that, like a really entity that would just be like, I'm just taking all your animals and selling them for you, and I'll give you 75, 60, 40% of your profit, whatever deal you would have. It'd be interesting. Like, and I mean, that's kind of what we do for wholesaling, but I'm not a salesman. I'm a breeder. I enjoy breeding them. I don't enjoy selling them. So I don't know how you feel, Shan, but that's kind of my take on it. So, and I think everybody's different. You need to accept what you are.
I'm pretty much the same as you. I I don't know. I feel like maybe I have a little bit more patience than you do, but I totally agree with some of it. Like sometimes we spend a lot of time with these people. You're really nice, courteous, send them a bunch of pictures, and it's like they want more pictures, and then all of a sudden they disappear. Like I'll take, for example, I have a customer that probably like a month ago asked me about some jungles, asked me how much it would cost, blah blah blah. This is before we had kind of shut them off, right? And I told him how much jungle plus shipping and all that. Gave him my email. He just got back to me this week, and he's like, "Oh, blah blah blah. I'm interested in." I'm like, "All jungles and most of the Brettles are all sold." I said I have a few supers left and some gelatins. So he's like, "Oh, I want some pictures on those." Da da da. Asked me how much it is, and guess what we're at right now? We're still waiting. He has my email. He's like, "Oh, I really like these," but now he's kind of ghosted me again. So I'm just, you know what? I totally get it. It's a lot of work, um, and just sometimes it's just better to just get rid of the 30 snakes. And like I said, so if we don't sell to Japan, we usually sell to either the expos. There's a few guys that we sell at the expo, so that helps out. And then we have a few private sales. Don't get me wrong, we do have some, but yeah, it's that just pretty much eats our whole season. So it's nice and easy. We start fresh every year.
Yeah, which is great. So before anything else to chat about that you want to talk about before we deep dive into our not so great guest compared to other people, I guess it'll be me today. So
Come on, give yourself some credit there. But no, I don't think so. I don't. No, things are just normal. Just yeah. I got on another note, so I don't know if I said that. The rat sheds. I put out some screens, so I've never spoken about it, but so I have the rats outside, and usually I have to have the doors open because it's so freaking hot outside. You want circulation in there. But then I get critters coming in and stuff. So this year I decided to build a screen door, so I have it open all year round, and it's so much better. Then I don't have to take care of skunks, squirrels, chickmunks, raccoons. So yeah, no, it's good.
that's kind of nice.
So
We were talking about AI earlier. I wonder if you could use AI too for counting, for inventory, and all that. Because if you taught it that, like, here's a picture of this baggie with pinkies, or you taught it like this is a pinky, this is a fuzzy, and you just showed them all the size, you could probably take pictures after and being like, count my inventory. Like I don't know if you've ever considered that or not.
you
Now
think it
that
would
I'm
know?
oh,
I think it
100%.
would be off.
I think it would be close enough that you would be pretty good. Like if it's really interesting. Like I've done things like that where if you were like, here's a baggie, this is a pinky, this is a fuzzy, this is this, this is this, this is the weight of all my animals. You probably could teach it one to tell you what size each animal is with a pretty damn close accuracy. If you just always took your pictures with a ruler in the background or something like that, it could tell you the weight of each animal, and then it could tell you the amount that you have. And all you have to do is just teach it, and you start a thread with only your rat weighing or things like that. I bet you could do some pretty decent inventory.
Yeah.
I don't know, just a
Or
thought.
or if you put like, let's say a bag of pinkies and it says 50 pinkies in there, and you put all the bags there and you say count, like count my inventory, I'm sure it would be able to read the bags and tell you how many bags and how many rat mice you have, right? No.
Yeah, it might be off by a couple, but like I could see that as a useful thing. Like, and if you said like, well, this freezer is this size, this is like, I don't know. Like if you you took everything out of your freezer, you stuck it all on the ground, you took one picture, say how many pinkies, fuzzies, weanlings, whatever, jumpers, hoppers, whatever, all that do I have? And you taught it first, like if you took a picture of each size, right? Like here's a pinky, fuzzy, blah, blah, and you told them the first picture, here are the animals, blah, 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 blah. Here are the respective size. Okay, learn what this is. Now I'm going to take a picture. Tell me what I have. I bet you it would work pretty well. I don't know. Just a thought. I don't know if you would need that or not.
So one thing, I try not to take out my phone when I'm doing the rats because it's very dirty. So I try to keep the phone clean because it's like, ugh. And then the other thing is like that's just a lot of work. It's just I don't know. I try to keep an inventory. I have usually a board. I just write down as I put it in the freezer and put it out of the freezer. Like I said, you got to have a lot of time on your hands to do what you just said to make it work. But I think it would work after a while, right? Like,
yeah. I think
like you said, you have to teach it, and then once it's taught, then I think it would work, right? So, yeah. All right. So, where are we heading with this? There.
I think I will give the reins to you as the official interviewer, and
All right.
then I'll probably end up chatting about my history. I've done it once, if anybody's ever interested, but the last time I did it was, what do you think, like 9 years ago plus? I've been on NPR a couple of times, which has pretty much always been my favorite podcast, and I think I've been on theirs 4 times in total. But the first time I was on, I did do a bit of my background, but man, like you're looking at 8, 9, 10 years ago, probably like season 5, season 4, something, and they're on like 13. So it's been a long while, and figured if we had our own podcast for a year now, I always told myself we'd do it when we have no guests, and we decided this was the show. So yeah, I'll give the reins to you. You be the interviewer, you go, and then I'll chat. And for the few people that still care, come on, listen up. You'll hear what I'm about.
I don't think there's anybody on right now.
Oh no, it's freaking 8 in the morning. We didn't tell anybody, and we're usually on Sunday, so
for sure.
It's still live. It's still going to be on there.
Absolutely.
Actually, there is one guest. Somebody just logged on. I have no idea who.
Oh yeah.
I don't know how to check it.
I didn't see nothing. So Dom, when did you fall in love with reptiles? Did you start at a young age?
I was always, yeah.
Yeah, kind of give me your background on that. When you started all.
I don't think I ever was in love with reptiles. I wasn't really specifically into reptiles. I think it just kind of started with I love animals. I would collect anything. I would find anything. And typical little kid that would go and grab everything, play in the woods, grab crabs on the beach, or, catch the frogs in there. And yeah, so just the typical kid that was always running after animals. I always thought I would become an exotic vet, which was always my goal. And where it all started was I was with my high school sweetheart that I stayed with for like 5 years. But while I was with her, there was an ad in a newspaper, like your little local newspaper, which are things that nobody even thinks about now, right? But prior to the internet or anything of that existing, right? Like the internet started when we were teenagers or things like that. But if you were looking for a job, you'd literally have to open the newspapers and look at job wanteds and all that. And in there, it said volunteers needed. And it was written Little Ray's Reptile Zoo, which back then was when Little Ray's opened. And it was literally like, if you picture the really old strip malls, like it would be like literally a square building that looked like crap, that would have like 5 little things in it. One would be, let's say, like a pizza shop. The next one would be your phone. The next one would be like your, fast cash, $20 for $300. And, like those little crappy strip malls in the middle of nowhere. Well, one of those tiny little things of the 5 was just Little Ray's Reptile Zoo, which was just like wasn't sure if it was a pet shop or was keeping animals and that, but right at the start it was really tiny, and it turned out to be more like a basically Little Ray was Little Ray and Sherry. So Paul and Sherry opened their own little collection, which they've been keeping animals in their house forever and had like way too many animals. And they would do like the birthday party shows and all that out of their house and all that. And eventually decided to open a location to make it into a small zoo. So anyway, I went in there as like a little punk kid and volunteered for a few months. And back there, I would just go clean cages and all that, and kind of developed a passion. And I guess the advantage I was there is that I spoke French and English, and I was passionate. And eventually, I ended up getting my job there, getting paid, the typical minimum wage, which, fuck man, that was what, like $7 or $8 an hour, 6.85. Like people, like you look at the minimum wage now and you're like, oh my god, it was pretty bad. And I worked there for a little while, and I will always remember it. So I was working there now for about 8 or 9 months. I was probably, again, 16, and another employee I was working with said, you can have a snake at home. And I was like, what? I'll always remember it. She's like, yeah, like some pet stores sell snakes. I'm like, you can actually have one at home. I was 16 and I never even realized that you could have a snake in your house, which to me was like mind blowing. Like I was like, really? And she's like, yeah, this store here, shop actually sells snakes. And I was in Ottawa and I had never seen a pet store that sold a snake. And Ottawa's like, it's a decent city. Like it's pretty big. There's a couple of pet stores, and it's funny because I've been like into all the bigger shops. So like you go to PetSmart, you go to all that. I'd never seen a snake for sale in a pet store. But then she tells me this place, and the place in French is called Le Salon du Chien Plus, and it's closed down now, but that translates to like the living room of dogs is basically what it's called. So you would never think that there would be reptiles in this place, right? But it was this little ghetto. I'm saying ghetto, but you know what? It is the proper word. Little pet store that just sold like your typical thing, nothing mom and pop shop, but there was this tiny section in the back, like basically an equivalent of a room of about like 10 feet by 6 feet wide, that just had a rack of cages, but they were mainly aquariums, so you could see through it, and it had all your typical leopard geckos and bearded dragons and all that kind of stuff. And then there was a ball python, your famous wild-caught imported ball python. So, yeah, like you see where this is going, my first snake was a wild-caught ball python. Which I wish it was something else cooler, but no, I started with a ball python. So I got one ball python, and then one ball python went to two ball pythons. And I had a male and a female. I've never bred ball pythons. I've never put two ball pythons together because it's weird, but in the 90s, nobody thought of breeding. You didn't keep snakes to breed back then. You kept snakes to keep snakes. You kept reptiles to keep reptiles. So I'd say my collection kind of just kept escalating and kept increasing. And I was the typical Noah's Ark when I first started, just like everybody else. And I think everybody goes through that stage. I've kept just about every animal that I shouldn't have kept. I'm trying to think of what. So snake-wise, I went from having two ball pythons, then got my third snake was a carpet python, which looking back on it was some kind of a mutt, some kind of a mix West Papuan carpet to I'm thinking coastal. It was a male. He was probably like 7 or 8 feet long. I overfed it, got it way too big, and had a lot of bluish ooze and some of from like the Papuans and some of the coastal lineage looking animals. Anyway, it was a mutt. And after that, snake-wise, I went to everything. And then I went to snow bull snakes. And then after that, just amassed everything. I had like the $50 scrub pythons that you would buy for absolutely nothing, that were like imports, wild caught for literally pennies. I've had green tree pythons. I had two African rocks, and I kept African rocks for like 7 or 8 years. Like my female was massive. I had one female that was like, I don't know, 11 feet, maybe 12 feet, and she was a good 75 to 80 pounds. Kept her forever. And again, I had two, and I had a small male, and I never put them together because, again, I never thought of the breeding aspect. I've had a lot of monitors. Monitors were my second passion. I never got into geckos. Like I've had like crested geckos for my kids, but I hated everything about it. Never got into tortoises or anything like that. But I kept them all at the zoo. So the advantage of when I was at the zoo is that it made me realize how much I didn't want certain animals. Like, and it was always all about the care. The care was so much work. Like monitors was amazing. I loved monitors. I loved taking care of them, but I hated the amount of work that they required, the amount of feeding that they required, the amount of heat that they required, and how keeping monitors in snakes was really hard to do because your monitors would require such high basking and warm up the room so much that it screwed up the whole room ambient. I found it very difficult. I don't know if people keep their monitors and snakes together, but I found it tough. Anyway, going through this whole learning curve, and then slowly I kind of moved out of all those animals and ended up just mainly keeping pythons. Pythons with just my two bull snakes that I eventually wanted to breed, but ended up getting rid of before I ended up breeding them. And yeah, I guess I don't really know where to go from there, but that's kind of like how I got into snakes and where I got in from that. You have questions, or you want to just keep blabbing?
Oh, you're doing great. That's awesome. No, so yeah, I agree with you. In those days, we didn't think about breeding a whole lot, right? It was just about keeping. Yeah, and I found at certain times it was maybe because you were with Lil Rays, you didn't have to be, but I felt like I had to be secretive sometimes. Like I was worried about my neighbors, right, finding out about this stuff and all that. Like now it's more open, but in those days, if a neighbor could easily call on you and screw everything up, right? So I was very, very didn't let people know all about my stuff, right? It was I don't know. So um, what did you kind of do apart from that at the zoo? Um, did you like you just take care of everything at the zoo? Is that what you did?
Yeah, I'll go back real quickly to the neighbors. It's funny because back then I could keep anything in Ottawa. We could like the law was no alligators, no crocodiles, but I had caimans in my house and they were legal. Doesn't change that I hit it. There was no maximum limit on a snake size, so I could keep an African rock python in my house. I can't anymore. Now we have a 2 meter bylaw for pythons and boas, but and I was even more secretive back then, but I was actually allowed to legally keep a lot worse things. The only bylaw we had was like no venomous, and that's pretty much it. So I never kept venomous. And now our bylaws are much more strict. They're still reasonable. I wish it was a little bit bigger than 2 meters for pythons and boas, but except for that, it's pretty good overall. As for the zoo, so the zoo kept growing, and it went from one of the 5 strip malls to 2 to 3 to 4 to 5 to expanding to the backyards to expanding to multiple locations across Canada. They've done very, very well for themselves. Little Ray and Sherry did very well, and it was a very cool thing. So what did I do there? I kind of grew with the company. I guess I did more and more. I did both. Either I was dealing with the public, walking through the zoo, doing the shows, or I would be some days go there and just be the curator, just cleaning for 8 hours at a time, cleaning the entire zoo, all the animals, and so on. Grew with the animals, if that makes sense. Like when I first started working there, I worked there for a total of 10 years, from like 16 to even more, 15 to like 25 is when I left. But like, for example, the alligators that worked there, maybe when we started, they were, I don't know, the smaller one was 3 feet, the bigger one was maybe 6 feet, like, 5 to 35, 40 pounds. By the end, they were 600, 650 pounds. Like, they had grown so much, they had changed so much. But the cool thing is, like, crocodilians, they know you, they know their keepers and all that. It was like we would go swimming, like basically their tanks were swimming pools, like just cement, big enclosures. You could go in, you'd swim with them. The water would be like to almost breast level, and you could go in there and just pick them up in the water because they knew you. It was some of those things I really miss because I had some things that I will literally never do in my life again. You know, like when can you say I swam and would pick up a 600-pound, 10-foot alligator? I will never ever say that again. But I could back then, and they were puppy. Like when I say puppy tamed, they literally were because we handled them every single day, right? And for 10 years, and it was just you had that relationship with. Um, I did a lot of falconry. We had a lot of eagles, and well, mainly hawks, but we had falcons, owls, kestrels, vultures, a lot of different things. So there was a lot of flying birds and feeding them. And I found the whole falconry hobby to be really interesting. It was really cool. It was very rewarding. It was very fun. So we did the flying the shows of the birds over the crowd, making them land on you and all that kind of stuff. So I did a lot of that. I did a lot of birthday parties, like way too many birthday parties. I'll be honest with you, I freaking hated them after a while. Like, it was rough. I really didn't enjoy it. Yeah, if I went back on my whole things, I wish I did a lot less shows, but I've probably done like 10,000 reptile shows in my lifetime. I've done my share. I don't think I would ever do them again. It's one of those things where if you do too many, eventually it kind of removed the love of the animals, because it it's tough because when you're a business with animals, it's different. There's certain things like putting animals in a bin, driving to place A, taking them out for an hour, putting them back in the bin. You have an hour to drive to place B, taking them out, showing them for an hour, putting them back in the bin, driving to place C. And you would do 3, sometimes 4, sometimes 5 shows in a day. And it'd be like, I don't know. I found it hard. I think it was very hard on the animals. I think there's the business aspect and the keeping aspect for reptile shows. And I get that a lot of people will tell you, well, it's education. You're helping. The more people know about snakes, the less they're likely to run it over or kill it with a shovel at home. And I 100% agree. But I think there was an aspect that is very hard on the animals. So working at a zoo, I loved the keeping. I loved the curating. I enjoyed doing the show, like the feeding shows at the zoo and those kind of things. And I found it a lot better. And I found that it was a lot less stressful on the animal because they were in their own cages. You took them out for an hour and you put them back in. Doing shows at people's houses, at schools, and all that kind of stuff, I found it was a lot on the animals. And there's a part of me that sometimes wonders if that's the right way to do it, only because I think it takes a very large toll on the animals. Anyway, I'll just leave it at that. So I worked at the zoo for over 10 years. Why did I stop? I'll be honest with you. I was had a girlfriend, ended up having a child with said girlfriend. She already had a child when we started, which was Caleb. He's my 25-year-old son now, and had a son with her. And I was 22, 23, making minimum wage, not being able to figure out how the heck I would afford anything. I had gone to university to do a biology degree to eventually become a vet. Hated school, hated university, ended up dropping out. Was kind of in a stage where I needed real money to support a family. I had 2 sons and couldn't do anything, and ended up, my sister became a paramedic, became really jealous, and decided to go to school and went back to school to become a paramedic. And once I finished and became a paramedic 2 years after that, kind of had to make a choice. And, one had a real salary with benefits and paid well. The other one paid me minimum wage, even though I'd been there for 10 years. Okay, I was maybe not minimum wage, but I was like $3-4 above minimum wage, which barely covered anything. I was basically broke. And I think that's a very common thing. It's like if you want to work with animals, you got to accept that you're going to be broke. And eventually I kind of left that and decided that I would just keeping more to myself, like keeping animals to myself. And I've always had animals. Actually, that's not even true. I've had animals most of my life, except for about a 3-4 year stint, which you can get into after. But yeah, so that's kind of the zoo. And then I went into paramedic, then went back to school, did my advanced care paramedic, and I've been that for the past 20 plus years. And that's my career that actually pays for everything. And the reptiles have always been my side, and I call it a hobby because to me it's something that I do because I love. I don't do because I need to or because I want. And I've basically kept animals that entire time, except for a couple of years where I had some really rough times with my animals. And yeah, so I can, if you want, we can shift.
So when did you get back into it? So obviously you started your family with that girl and you had your two kids and stuff. But when did you start, or did you still have animals at the time? Did you still keep them, or did you get rid of them and then get new ones, or like when did you start back up into getting back into the hobby?
So I think I need to go into what happened. You know how everybody talks about, I got out, I got back in. People get out for certain reasons. In my case, I didn't get out because of life. I got out because of what happened to my animals. Um, so I kept for probably at that point, I think I was around 27, 28, maybe even 29. I'd been keeping for over a decade, and I had a pretty large collection at that point. Probably had over 30 to 40 carpet pythons. I had just about a lot of other things, but I was slowly slimming down everything. I think I had no more lizards. I was only just into snakes. And at that point, I had bred, a couple of clutches here or there, like a couple of mutt clutches of hybrids and weird ass carpet pythons that were worth absolutely nothing, but I was super proud in selling them for pennies. And then I started buying my first expensive animals. So if you know carpet pythons, the first big morph that came out that was worth a fortune were jags. So I bought my first coastal jag, and I paid around 25 to 3,000 Canadian dollars for a jag, just a coastal jag that was pure. And actually, was it that one that was first? No, my first one was an Axanthic jag. Nope, I take it back. It was just a regular jag. That was before the animal I bought from Don Patterson that you bought the same one. So this is way before that. So I bought my first jag and I paid $2,500 for it, which I guess American would be like $1,500 or something like that. But it was still, to me, it was really expensive for just a jag only. And you look at right now, like if I have jag in a breeding, in my opinion, it actually brings down the value of the animals. That's the way I look at it because I don't want it in there. To me, it's just a gene that's deleterious. It has neurological effect, but it creates a prettier snake. But I always breed out jags if I have some. I don't even have any more. But when I did, I would hold back the ones that didn't have any, and I would only sell the one with the jags. And I hated having that conversation. Anyway, I will leave that on the side. But I ended up getting my first jag. So I bred them, and it was a bit of a disaster clutch. I got my first jags to hatch out. I probably had about 7 jags. So now think of yourself as like a broke ass student / new parent. You have no money and you just popped out 7 jags. Okay, and jags are going for 2,000-ish plus money. This was the first time I could make real money. I was pretty goddamn excited. Okay, so during that time, the zoo started having an event. I won't go into too much detail because it's not my story to tell, but I'll just say a lot of snakes were dying. They ended up going through a vet, trying to figure out what it was. And I still don't know to this day what it actually was, but I have ideas. They ended up losing about, I'd say 40% of their snakes in the entire zoo. It was believed to be some kind of an infection of some kind, and the doctor at the time ended up treating all the animals with Flagyl, which now looking back on it makes no sense, but that's what happened. I was working at the zoo. I had animals that had come from the zoo that went into my collection on a breeder loan, and then I had returned them. So my animals in my collection were all exposed to the same thing that the zoo was exposed to. And the big thing is there was no such, I didn't do any quarantine. They literally was like, oh, zoo animal, bring it in here. And I just put it right into my collection and all that. So my thinking was I had the same thing. Nothing died in my collection, but I was really worried. So then the vet said, we're going to treat him with this medication or that. I went to see the vet. And the vet prescribed me the same thing that they prescribed the zoo. So proactively, I treated all my animals. The only problem is, again, 20 plus years ago, what were we looking at? Yeah, probably 20 years ago. Medication for reptiles was not very well known. Well, the medication he gave me was so overdosed that all my animals started having seizures, started twisting. And if you've ever seen a snake having a seizure, it is not fun. Um, I ended up having to give Valium to all my animals continuously. I would stay up all night for about a 3 day period. I was giving Valium to all my animals that were seizing. And I mean, I was in the room just looking at snakes seize. Then I would go to the next one, I would pump them up. And turns out, I think, I don't remember the exact story, the exact dosage of Flagyl they gave us, but we gave something like 3 to 4 times the maximum dosage, and instead of giving it, the interval time was way shorter than supposed to treat the animal for whatever possible illness there was. Which, looking back on it now, I wonder if it was Nido. I wonder if it was something else, but we don't actually. I actually don't know. I ended up losing about, I'd say, 60% of my entire collection to seizures and overdose from Flagyl, which is crazy when you think about it. Like, it was a medication, it was the dosage that I got from the vet, which killed off more than half my entire collection, including my adult jag and I think 6 of the 7 jags. I only had 1 left. So I was not happy. I was freaking pissed. And the babies that survived from my clutch were only because it was so hard to treat them with Flagyl that a few of them I had not treated, and they survived. I ended up never having whatever the illness was in my collection, but I ended up killing them most with the overdose. So that was the first event. Is I lost like 60 to 70%. I think I had over like 40 snakes in my freezer post that event. It was rough. Like, it was like when you amass an entire collection. And within 2 weeks of that, I had my second event happen, which I don't know if my son ever knows that he did this or not, but he ended up going in my snake room. And back then my room was, it was just a room, and I had an oil heat, I don't know, not projector, but anyway.
Basically an oil furnace kind of thing. Like,
yeah, something like that.
It's a little heat element. Basically, it looks like the old days, the furnaces on the side of your, but it's a portable one, right?
Yeah, it's a portable. It's probably like 80 to 100 bucks.
Oil-filled furnace.
Yeah, that was specific for just the room. But so back then, you didn't have like your nice like temperature controlled environments, right? Like where right now I'll have my herb stats on every single cages, all that. It was very different. So you had helixes, which was basically the only real one you had, and I had some helix on cages, but my oil heat was just, a little dog. You would press up, press down, and I would put it at, let's say, room temperature of 74, and that was it. Like, you had just a little dial. Anyway, my son was like 4 or 5 back then, and he went in the room, whatever, left. And when I came back the next day, the room was at 106. So whatever happened, the dial on it was moved up all the way to 106. I remember my son would go in there and he'd touch some buttons sometimes. I think he must have pressed it, or the machine malfunctioned and brought everything to 106. So my room for about 12 to 14 hours overnight went to 106, which is insane. I lost probably another half of my collection on that day. So if let's say I started with probably around 60 animals, I went down to 30, and then I went down to 15 or 10. I had about 10 snakes left. So in a matter of 2 weeks, I lost like 50 of 60 snakes. Like, I can't tell you how much that like destroys a keeper. Like, picture your entire collection now that you've been raising for a long time, and then all of a sudden just like everything is crushed. I ended up selling everything after that. Within the next month, I started putting everything. Oh, and to top it off, I was then separating with my girlfriend at that point. That we've been 5 years and had 2 kids. So everything was overwhelming. I lost all my animals. Everything kept dying. I had these things happening. So I just got out of the hobby completely. Sold off the remaining 10 snakes. Then I started selling off all my equipment, everything. And out of all the things that I've said, you know what the advantage of all that is I got rid of all my bad cages, all of my heavy melamine cages. I got rid of all my wood cages, everything. I got rid of every single thing. And so that was kind of like the end. And back then, I had bred a good amount of carpet pythons. I probably had 6 or 7 clutches of carpet pythons. I would do 1 or 2 and did all the weird ass ways of breeding carpet pythons and incubating eggs. And I've done all the different eras and how tos that back then would have been, from aquariums to hoverbators to man-made incubators, and I had done it all, but then I just got rid of everything. So yeah, that was kind of my learning trials, if you'd want. And yeah, it was rough. I'm not gonna lie. Like it crushed me, and I thought I was done keeping snakes forever after that, and I stopped for a little while. So yeah, that's any questions about that or?
Yeah, no, that definitely would crush me too, having all that happen. Mishaps, eh? Yeah, no, no, that's great. And so after that, how did you get back into it?
Oh, it was actually my son's fault, which is funny because I think my son was like the catalyst to stop keeping, but I think he was also the catalyst to restart. Um, so my kids remembered having snakes in their house, right? After a couple of years, they were like, "Oh, I remember you having snakes, and I always wish I could have it. I miss having them." And they kept talking about them, and I kept saying no because I'm like, if I get another snake, I know it's going to explode, right? So I always said no, I know. And then my son's like, "Well, I really want a snake for my birthday." And I kept thinking about it. I kept debating it and debating. And eventually I said to myself, you know what? If I do, I'm going to get him a nice snake. And I'm going to get him the snake that I want because he doesn't know anything. I'm not getting him a goddamn ball python or a corn snake or anything like that. So I started researching, and I ended up buying him a pure jungle carpet python from this guy called Favel, which back then, the big names in Canada, there was pretty much two. There was Jeff Favel and Don Patterson. And Don Patterson's, like, he's a good friend of ours, and I chat with him all the time. But he was there in the 90s. Like, I'll joke around. I've actually never met him in person. I keep joking around. Like, I assume that like you're Asian and 70. But there's no pictures of Don Patterson. Doesn't it? I have confirmed he is a white man. That I have no idea what he looks like. I hope he listens to this podcast, but I know he's not. If somebody does listen to him and chat with him, you're free to tell him that. I've already told him that. He's like, no, I'm white. I'm just some regular old guy. I would just blend into the crowd. But anyway, there was Don Patterson and Jeff Favel. They were the two really big names back then, and they did a lot of carpet pythons, a lot of Morelias. And if you know anything about Morelia, Jeff Favel is the originator of the Neon line, and the Neon line became the Gamma Jags and the Gamma line for all those crazy hybrid, beautiful, weird crosses that you see around. But anyway, the female that I got, the pure jungle carpet python, was one of it came from uh, a female that was also responsible for being crossed with the Jags and creating the Neon line that eventually went on to being the Gamma line. So that's where Jeff Favel kind of falls in the hobby. Shortly after I got that female, he got completely out of the hobby and was never heard of again. So he's out. Apparently, he's still out there, but he doesn't keep snakes, doesn't do anything snake related. So you'll hear us often talk on this podcast of the Favel line animals. It all derives from this one animal, this one pure female that I got from Jeff Favel that bred her. She was this gorgeous black and yellow banded perfect snake that was beautiful. So I got back into it because
Do you know what year that was, approximately?
I'd have to look.
Just
I
curious.
think
Just estimate.
so. When I look at her age, I still have her. She's a 2000. I want to say 11. Might be off, give or take-ish. So it gives you kind of an idea of the timeline. So a little while ago, that's when I kind of got back into it and got the first female. But again, by getting back into it, I bought one snake. I bought it for my son. It was like in one of those, when you go to PetSmart and they have like the aquariums, but they were made for reptiles that had the sliding top that was mesh. It was basically kept in that. Pardon me?
Xterra.
Yeah,
Xterra tanks or whatever.
something like that. But it was like a 4x2-ish size, So kept it like that, kept it in his cage, and I would take care of it with him, and I would clean the cage, I would feed it with him, and he had a lot of interest for the first year. And then the second year, barely ever took care of it, didn't really care. And then after year two, I was like, I guess it's now my snake, and I started taking care of it. And then, it would be nice to have a male to go with that jungle. And I ended up buying a male. And then two became three, became five, became 10, became 20. And, it kind of exploded from there. And the one big thing that I liked about getting back into hobby is so many of the things I did back then, I told myself I would never do again. So one of the big one was like, so I'm getting back into this. I'm not doing wood cages again. I'm not doing these gigantic, bulky things that don't fit together, that look like crap and all that. And one of the fun thing is I was able to just like restart my collection and be like, I only want PVC cages. So I only bought black PVC cages. And if you look at my room, it's all black PVC cages with front opening doors, and freaking love it. Like I did a lot of things that were very different because I didn't want to do it certain ways. So I ended up changing my entire room. I ended up restarting, everything from like your equipment. Back then, I did a lot of the stupid, what the heck are those thermostats that always crap out?
Inkbird.
There you go. Not sure.
Hey, we evolved though, come on. Like we went from melamine cages and not even like, we didn't even have thermostats. In my days, like I used like a human, like a heating pad, and I just took off the auto stop or auto whatever, and I just kept it running and was underneath the tank. It would keep the one side of the tank warm enough, and probably put a light bulb on the top, and that's how I kept. We were light bulbs at one point, and then look how we've evolved. Like now it's heat tape or rain heat panels. Yeah, no.
Yeah. We could definitely, you know what? We probably could do a show some days on how our equipment has changed and how our keeping has changed. Like, think about it. We could talk about incubators for probably 45 minutes of how we kept back then to how we keep now, just our incubators. Heating a cage, how did we do it back then to how we do it now? It's
right.
insane
and you're much pickier now. Like, I feel like now you would never go back to an Inkbird, right? Unless you had no choice for a little while to just, but I know how you are now. It's like you want to upgrade everything and get those herp stats and stuff, which I agree with. Like, I mean, at the end of the day, a herp stat can run a whole rack, which kind of like has less plugins. Just imagine an Inkbird on every single one of them. I don't know. I just feel
so
like it's a lot.
I did have an Inkbird on every single one of my cages. I probably had over 70 Inkbirds in my room. And to anybody who doesn't know Inkbird, just go on Amazon, Google Inkbird. It's basically a proportional thermostat that I don't even know if it's proportional. I'm just going to say thermostat. That is okay. That will give you somewhat accurate temperatures to about 1 or 2 degrees, which I know 1 or 2 degrees is not great, but it's good enough for a hot spot on a cage. They're about 35 to 40 bucks. Very relatively cheap. The problem is they die. They just crap out for no reason. And I've had so many that over time they would die, and then every time they died, they would just like give like the beep of death, like beep, and then you walk into your room like, oh god damn it, another one's broken. It takes you about half an hour to take the snake out, remove the probe, remove the tape, remove that, take the whole thing, remove all your tie wraps in the back, then put a new one, reinstall it, and then you're good to go. And then the whole setting it up is not an easy, like they're not that friendly to set up. Like then I would do it all, and then I'd get it back going. But then I started writing, like, I would put a new one, then I would start writing, like, November, 2018. And then I would start gauging, and then after a while, I'd be noticing, holy crap, man. Like, I'm now changing ones that have a date on it, and they would last an average of about 18 months. That's their lifespan. So I would continuously change them and change them and change them until eventually I got really annoyed. I'm like, they're cheap, but the amount of work of changing them all the freaking time was pissing me off. And I made a complaint to Ingbird. I went directly to Ingbird and I showed them. Like I showed them over 15 of them that were broken. I was starting to stack them up in bins because I had so many. And I'll be honest, Ingbird was amazing. And I got so...
I think they had some bad batches because I did the same.
Is?
I think I did the same thing. Well, you told me about it and I did the same thing. I'm still using them and some of them just work really good and then some of them just crap out. So once they crap out, I'm getting new stuff just like you are. I'm doing the same thing as you are.
So they were good though. They gave you, like, after I told you what I did, you did the same thing, and I got over like 30 replacement Ingbirds easily, right? Like, and it's insane. It sounds like a lot, but when you buy ridiculous amounts of something, and you can show the receipts of every single one you've bought, and then I start having dates, and I would have to like plug them all in the wall and just show error, error 1, error 2, error 1, and just show them all. And then I sent like emails of like all these things, but then I'd receive a care package from Ingbird for like 30 thermostats for free replacements, right? So I'll give it to them. They were a great company in the fact that they were amazing, man. They gave me tons of them back and all that. But the problem is that I would get them all back and then I would change them. But with the amount I had in my room, man, there was a time where once a week I was replacing one. And it was just annoying because once a week I had a 35, 40-minute job to take off that one and put it back in. But it also meant that depending on when it crapped out, if it was like during cooling season, well, the hotspot wouldn't go back on and they were already at 64 in the room and I needed heat in the day to bring them back. But now it wasn't. And I was like, God damn it. And I started losing, the reliability wasn't there anymore. So then I had to decide, what do I do? And then I would, buy my first Helix 6. I spent $900 on a Helix 6 and like I might look at Herbstat 6. And I was like, oh my God, like it's a lot of money, but I'm like, yeah, I'm investing in one of them. And then I would change one stack and I did that. And then that would remove 6 Ingbirds. And then, as they crapped out, I would reuse those on other cages. And slowly I've been changing that. And it's been about, 7 or 8 years now, 6 years maybe that I've been slowly getting rid of them. And they're all dying slowly, but I've also got all my replacement ones that are brand new that are continuously replacing the old ones that are breaking. And I'm down to having I think I'm down to 1 stack of cages now that have Ingbirds. I think I have 5 Ingbirds left that are actively working in my cages, and I have about 2 new ones left. But I'm replaced, and I think I gave you like a few of them because I had too many, and I'm like,
yeah, thank you,
just
appreciate it.
Well, if it helps, I just don't want to use them anymore, and I have that last stack, and at some point, I'm gonna get one more Helix 6. Why do I keep saying Helix? Herbstat 6, and then I'll replace the last stack. But again, when you do that, man, I don't think people realize how much time goes into. You go into like not even taking care of the animals, into like the technology and setup. Like if I decide to change 6 cages from, all my Ingbirds to changing it to a Herbstat 6, that is a like 3 to 4 hour endeavor. Like removing everything, and you have to get into every single cage, so you can't leave the animals while you're doing that. And usually your entire stack of cages is against the wall, so it's another ordeal just to manage to move it, to put it in a way where you can access the back, access the front, because you got to put the probes, bring it to the right places. Then once you have all that set up, you got to tie everything, and then we all know that keeping reptiles is like a fire hazard, right? Like there are wires everywhere and all that. So you're tying everything properly, you're tie wrapping everything so that if I want to move the entire 6 cages together that are on big casters, I gotta have nothing catching to anything. So I'd say for 3 to 4 hours to take everything off and change an entire stack of 6 cages to do that. So honestly, it's work. It sucks. Like I spend way too much time always doing these upgrades, but when I do, I do. So I have 6 or 7 stacks of like 8 to 10 cages. So they could be wide or anyway, like 4x2 stacks from floor to ceilings. I have all these big stacks. So I'm always changing these stacks slowly, but I'm down to only 1 left to do. And those are my last ones on Ingbird. So I'm looking forward to it. Don't think I'm doing them anytime soon because, I don't have another grand to spend on another Herbstat 6 Plus. But it will come. I am very close to being completely out. We are not sponsored by Herbstat, but if Herbstat is listening, we'd love to be sponsored by you. And I'd love to get free thermostats because I have way too many in my room. And they are amazing. Like they're great. They're reliable. They are the best. I do have only one that is not a Herbstat. What's that other company that does the
Like
green
isn't
one?
Vivarium or something? Isn't it?
Yeah, VE. Yeah, you got it.
VE.
So
Now I've never had a Herbstat break down on me. That's one thing. They are very reliable, and even then you can change the probes. They're like so easy. I feel like they're just a better machine. So you're spending a grand, but you're never gonna have to replace it. And if you do, it's just a probe usually. I don't know.
I was going to say I've never had a machine break, but I have had probes give me issues. So, but the advantage is a probe is $20, and like every now and then I'll like right now I've got two probes that keep going on and off. Ever since my move, after I've moved them, they go from like invalid to invalid to good, and it's been going on now since the move, so 4 or 5 months ago, and it's annoying the crap out of me. It'll work perfectly, and then I'll hear it beep, and I look at the probe, it says invalid, and I don't have any extra probes. So, but it lasts a few seconds, then it goes back to working normal. It's been going on like that for a while, but the advantage is I can literally pop that probe out, plop in, like it's just an auxiliary cable on the back, right? Super easy to change, super great, except the really old Herbstats. The old Herbstats have built-in probes that go inside the machine. So you can't actually change the probes on the really old ones. But the same way that the old Herbstats, the cable on the back, like the cable that you would plug into the wall, isn't one you plug in the back of the machine. It is wired inside the machine, and there's no changing it. So they've evolved just like anything. But again, I'm talking about Herbstats that are really old there. But if you look at the old ones, you'll notice that they're not done the same way. But now you can change the cable, you can change the fuse, you can change each probes. Like they're just, to me, they're just really well done. They work great, and I love them. So again, please sponsor us. It'd be great. I just want free Herbstats. So what I was going to say, right? Like we can never have enough. So what I was going to say, the only thermostat. Okay, so I have Inkbirds on one tower that will eventually be leaving, and all the Herbstat. I have one VE in my entire collection. Do you know what my VE does? Guess what it heats or what it takes care of?
I would say your incubator.
It does. And I can't even tell you the why. I've always had, like, back when I used to use only Inkbirds, I had one VE, and I've been using it for an incubator. I had no Herbstats. And then I started using Herbstats and realized that they were the best, and I love them. And I've been slowly changing all my cages to Herbstats. But my incubator stayed on this one VE 300 or 200 or whatever it is. And they're huge, but it's been the same one for over a decade, and it works great. My temperatures work well, and all my babies hatch every year. So why change a good thing when it works? Now, would I put a Herbstat on my incubator? 100%. But I have one that works, and I have zero issues with it. So it's kind of tough to, change a good thing. But I'll be honest with you, I personally wouldn't do VE, but I have reasons for it. I find they don't go as high into the amount of probes, and they're bulky. They're big, and they're, I don't know. Do they work well? I think they're great, but I personally will always err on the side of Herbstat, but I know a lot of people who use them, and they love them. So go for it, man. What's your thought on that?
I have a Herbstat one for my incubator. It's the simple, plain one. The one when they reconfigured it, so everything comes out the back. So basically, the probe, I can change the probe. I can also change the wire, but it's the Herbstat one, so it's great. Keeps accurate temperature. It's very easy to set. I don't know. I have no complaints. Never have any problems. So Dom. So after you bought the Faval line, where did it go from there? Where did it expand? Obviously, you got a few extra snakes. You said, I presume you said you had an IJ. I remember you had an IJ, really huge IJ.
Yeah, well, I'd say I got into a few projects. I kind of go down each of them. So the big ones is I started getting into coastals a lot. Coastals became probably my favorite. Then I bought a lot of. We were buying a couple from Don Patterson back then. So I got my first few pure coastals. My big main best male that I originally got was a pure coastal Exanthic Jag, which back then was a lot of money for me. And he was one of the main males. And I got a couple of females. And I think our main big breeding pair was always my coastal Exanthic Jag to your big female het Exanthic coastal.
So just to go back on that, so basically, Don, if you wanted quality carpet pythons that are pure, like he had some pure stuff, the coastal stuff, you went to him for that stuff. And so Dom,
there was no one else.
Yeah, exactly. There was no one else. Like, and this was like what, 10, 15 years ago, easy. And so when he got that, I got my het Exanthic coastal, and then I guess we met up at one point. And yeah, so we basically, our first project together was that I bought a pair of het Exanthic coastals, and my male wasn't doing very good. And then when I met Dom, I'm like, you got an Exanthic Jag, pure coastal. And I said, how about we just do a pairing? So yeah, no, that was the start.
Is it possible? I think I took on your female, right? You would bring her to my place. Is it me that bred her the first years?
Yeah, you brought her on the first year because, and yeah, and we were kind of weird about each other. You were like, I have the higher morph one and this and that. We didn't know each other, and I'm like, I don't care. I just want to do it and let's just have some fun, right? We're just, I don't know. It was just
yeah. And I think from there, the first year we got her to breed, and then we had everything, man. We had Jags, we had Exanthic Jags, we had het Exanthic Jags, and then we had het Exanthic, just normals, non-Jags, right? And I still remember the first year we got that, man, going through the bins and all that, and it's like
20 plus eggs too, eh?
Yeah, so
she gave us a big clutch.
And just to give you an idea of how stupid I was, like, it's like, I had my first baby rack that I made with a 6-quart bins, and with like a big permanent marker just on the bin, I would write like, Jag, het Jag, all that, like not even thinking that I would ever reuse these bins or anything like that. I still have bins and bid lids that are written like het Jag or het axe Jag on them, because the first year I didn't even put a label. I just wrote a big marker on it, never thinking I would have anyways, it's kind of funny because I still have that memory. Every time certain bins, I'll find like a lid and it's written like het axe Jag, and I'm like, holy crap, that lid's been there for over a decade. And it's making me realize how long certain things last, right? But yeah, so we did that. I'd say most of my coastal projects kind of derive from that main male and from getting extra female from holding out babies, and then eventually ordering higher end coastals from UK Python. So being in Canada, you're muted there if you want to say something.
Yeah, so I think at first, didn't we, with those babies, we sold them off to Dawn, and then you got another snake, and I remember getting, this is my first high-end snake. I think you might have gotten, did you get the rough scales? And I got myself a caramel Exanthic coastal Jag. Was that, remember? Had that male.
Probably did at some point.
It was like $1,400.
The rough scales is a lot further in though. Rough scales is it's like 4 years ago. But kind of the coastal project kind of went down the line of mainly Don, because he was the only one with anything pure in Canada, which it's funny because Don Patterson now, when you're talking about pure carpets or Morelia, he has, I talked to him 2 days ago, and he told me he's got some pure coastals left, only Exanthic, and that's about it. He's got pure jungles still left, and he does a lot of the pure jungles. And that's it. He's got literally nothing else that is pure. He has become a very big designer carpet python guy, and he produces some of the arguably nicest, beautiful looking designer morels in the world. Like if you've ever seen his Stonewash, Bradley, Diamond, blah blah hippopotamus snakes, they're incredible, like insanely beautiful. But anyway, back then he had some of the only pure, trustable lines of coastals, and then the other way to get them was UK Python, which again, UK Python back then had a lot of pure things. Paul also went down the line of mixing everything. In over a decade, like his animals it was really hard to get anything pure. Like if you looked at his list, there was a few pure things, but everything else was a granite, caramel, zebra. It was he mixed everything eventually too. So a lot of people went down that road, but so the coastal project kind of went down where I got a few animals from UK Python, so Paul, and I got a few animals from Don, and that built up from there. And arguably, I'd say some of my favorite carpets are coastals. We have some amazing projects, and we've gone down the road, and I'm working with Caramel, Exanthic, Hypo, Tigers. I have some pretty good mixes, and this year should be interesting in coastals. Then the other big projects that I did for a long time were the West Papuans, or the IJs, depending on how you want to call them. That one derived from buying a pair that came from another guy that were imported from UK Python again. So they came from there. But, man, you talk about deceiving things. So I ended up buying a pair of double het Exanthic granites. So I bought a pair of double het Exanthic granites. Back then, I think I paid about like $900 or $1,000 for these double hets. Obviously, I got had. They were not double hets. I had to track the pairing, track where they came from. I eventually tracked them all the way back to Paul. Paul was really great, and eventually we figured out exactly what they were. So they were both double possible, like 50 or 60%, 66% possible double hets Exanthic granite. So I paid a ridiculous amount of money for possible double hets, which, man, did that ever piss me off. Like when you start a project and you put so much time, and I put so much time into them, and I finally bred them. I got lucky to a certain extent. My female proved out as a double het Exanthic granite, which was amazing. So I had at least one animal with both the genes, and my male proved out only as a het, I want to say het Exanthic, nothing else. So it was a little bit disappointed because I had wanted to produce marbles forever, so an Exanthic granite visual, and I didn't have the real recipe. So I ended up buying a female granite that was an external, and I bought a couple of other ones, but I've worked that project for, what do you think? It's been a long time, like eight or 9 years. I've done a couple of different generations. Yeah, sure. Almost a decades of working that. And I did eventually amass all the right ingredients. And now if you were to look at my collection, it's when it comes to Papuans, IJs, West Papuans, whatever you want to call them, it's quite nice. Like, so to give you an idea, I don't have that many now, but I have two females that are now proven breeders. One of them is a Exanthic het granite that's been proven out. I have another female that is a granite het Exanthic proven out. And both of those females have produced now marbles. I have one male that is an Exanthic het granite proven out. And I have another male left that is a Exanthic possible het granite, which I tried to prove out this year. He didn't. I'll probably be moving him on because I don't need him, especially that he's not proven out. I don't know why I'm keeping him because now I have that. And I have held back a 1.2 Xanthic granites from years back. My females are now going to be 3. My male is 2. So technically I can now breed visual to visual. This year might be the first time. I think they're going to be of size. They might not. I might hit on it. I might not, but I can still produce. So this year I produced 2, possibly 3. The third one, I'm not sure. Xanthic granites, and previous years I produced a total of 4, which I've sent 1 to you, and I kept back to 1.3. So took many, many years to get to the actual goal, which is really too bad, because if I would have actually had what I was supposed to get right off the bat, I could have saved myself so many years. But you know, when you're in the hobby, you realize that not everybody tells the truth. People will say what they think it is just to sell the money and sell the snake at the right money. And yeah, buying possible double hets instead of buying double hets, which already a double het to a double het is what, a 1 in 16 chances, right, of hitting. It really sucked. Like that one really set me back, but I did eventually get there. I did eventually breed them. I went down a lot of other projects. I went down the albino granite project, which again, evolution of the keeper. I was really big into morph, big into mixing localities, mixing species initially, and I slowly stopped doing it until eventually I completely stopped. So I did do the albino granite project, which is arguably the last pure / non-pure animals I have in my collection. So I still have 1 albino granite. I did eventually hit it. I have 1 albino granite, really cool snake, terrible feeder. She is a she. She is 3 years old, and I have just moved her back into a 6-quart bin. A 3-year-old snake into a 6-quart bin. So try to think about that. You're muted, so I can't hear you.
No, ouch on that.
So
I try to mute myself to keep the noise.
Yeah, no worries. I'm just saying when you're talking, I can see your lips moving. But so I have a 3-year-old albino granite in the 6-quart bin. Now she's too big for that bin, but there's a reason I put her in there. She has been a terrible feeder her entire life. She eats only pinkies, nothing else. I've never successfully gotten her to eat, and she eats frozen thawed pinkies, but I can't get her to eat anything else. And she grabs, wraps, and kills everything. Doesn't eat it after.
So I have a snake like that. Do you feel like eats better in the 6-quart than when it was in whatever, like one of your enclosures? So you feel like it eats better?
So I've tried everything. She's moved up all the way to a 4x2, down to a 1x1, down to a 18 inches by 6 inches wide, deep, high cages. I've tried every single cage with her. She eats better in a small, tiny, tight enclosure, and she does better. So she used to be in a 2x2 for the longest time. And again, you're talking about a snake the size of my pinky around and probably about 18 inches long at 3 years old. She's long and really slender, but she only eats pinkies. Like, I don't know what else to say. She eats pinky rats, which is basically a sack of water. So, and if I want to try to get food into her, I can get her sometimes to eat 3 pinkies in a row. But I can spend 2 hours on her trying to get her feed. And now she's a 3-year-old snake that is the size of a 6-month-old Neo. It is so annoying. Why do I keep her alive? Why do I keep her going? Because she's an albino granite and she's really cool. She'll never breed. She'll never do anything. But she's one of those animals that took me, it was again a project that took on 8 or 9 years, and I finally did hit it. And after hitting it, one of the main adults died. So then I couldn't hit it anymore. But I kept her, and of course she never ended up growing up. If she would have grown up, I could have went back to one of the original males and, you know, went crazy, but that one just kind of stopped there. I still have, so I have her that I just keep back because I think she's cool. And I have a 2.1 left of the albino granite project. I am moving 2 of them out because, again, they're technically pure according to the new taxonomy. But I feel like mixing a West Papuan carpet python to a Darwin carpet python, even though it is both variegata and it is considered pure, I think it's like mixing, I don't know, a Cape York to a Jalton. They're both Darwins, but why would you do that? Right? Like, it's not right. Like, mixing a Darwin or an albino Darwin to a Jalton, what are you going to get out of it? Again, you're muted.
I'm cringing when you're saying that
Yeah.
kind of stuff, you know?
You hear what I mean, right? But
I
all
totally.
those, they're all technically pure, right? But why would you mix a Jalton to a albino Darwin? Like, unless your goal is just to mix in more different bloodlines, right? And then you're just going to go down the albino and you just
Albino
drop.
Jaltons?
No, you drop the word Jalton. Jalton doesn't exist anymore. As soon as you breed a Jalton to a regular Darwin or an albino Darwin, Jalton does not exist. You need to drop that word and forget it altogether. Because Jalton, all that Jalton says is locality Darwin, right? That's all it is. Cape York, locality Darwin. As soon as you breed a Cape York to anything else, it is no longer a locality. It is now just a Darwin. So can you do it? Yeah, I don't see anything wrong with breeding a Cape York to a Darwin, but just call it a Darwin after. Your Darwins might look different because Cape Yorks have been line bred for so many years that they're a very different looking Darwin. Same way with Jaltons. Jaltons don't look like Darwins at all. They're the same blood. Like they're both genetically they are Darwins. So you're allowed to do it. You're fine to do it. So in the end, going back to this is, should you breed a West Papuan to a Darwin? My opinion is no. I don't think you should call it pure either. It is pure according to the current taxonomy. So yes, it is, but only because West Papuan separated from Australia, like 30,000 years ago? I'm not good with this kind of stuff. I've heard Nick talk about it a while ago. But it's because they haven't been separated for long enough for them to have enough of a genetic difference that would be enough to call it a different species. So if anything, we could probably say that West Papuan is a locality of Darwin's. It is not genetically different enough to be its own species, but it's different. There is some differences. You can physically, I can tell, like, you show me any Darwins and any Papuans, I will tell you every single time with exactitude which one is which. So to me, they do look different, but they're technically pure. Anyway, long story short, I still have one albino head granite. And why did I keep it? Because it's a chimera. I mean, it's cool. Like, you pop out one of those anomalies, how can you not keep it? Like, I have an albino snake with speckles of black.
Are you
right?
sure it's
Like,
not
it's
mosaic?
Oh, sorry. Yes, you are right. It's a mosaic.
Sorry.
Yeah, no, you're 100% right. 100%. I mean, they're both very similar. It's just
they are. Yeah.
So yeah, you're
right. There
is
a difference apparently. So
there is. I don't know enough about that genetic to know. I just know that it's a mosaic. So mosaics, the phenotype tends to be a 95 to 98% animal that looks one gene. So in this case, albino, with very little of the other parental trait. So in this case, my animal is albino with very little genetics of the other parent, which is a normal. So you have some of the normal scales coming through the albino, which is just weird. Like, I probably have about 25 scales in total that are black on an albino, which is cool. Just a cool looking animal. So genetically, it's useless. You cannot breed a mosaic. So having a mosaic animal is cool, but it serves no purpose on a breeding for breeding. It's going to breed like an albino, but it's cool to have in your collection. So I have my albino granite and I have my albino mosaic heck granite. These are literally the only two albinos I have in my entire collection, but they're cool. But I guess they're pets because I don't think I'll ever breed them. Could I sell it? Probably. How do you sell a mosaic? Is that worth more money or is that worth the same thing? Or, I don't know, like, how often do you see a mosaic albino for sale? Never, right? So I have no idea if I could.
How often do you see a mosaic period? Like, so I was going to ask that question because I have that super that I popped out this year. And how many clutches have we done of like whatever, like jungles, coastals, whatever, albinos? You popped out one, I popped out one. But how many clutches did it take for us to get that? So how often do these come up? So I feel like that's got some value to it. But like you said, you can't breed a mosaic and have it pop out spots on another snake. It's not, apparently that doesn't happen, right? Am I correct with that?
Um, so it's genetically not reproducible. But how often does it happen? So I'll let you make the own count. So count how many babies you've produced in your entire snake career, right? So if
Right?
I went down the how many clutches have I had, and on average in the past 5 to 7 years, I've been producing between 8 and 15 clutches. Um, and I've had a lot of them in the past, and I've been breeding since, holy crap, since I was about 17. So I'm 45. Yes, I'm old. You look at that, I guess I've been breeding for give or take 27, 28 years, which is insane when you think about it, keeping for about 30. Because I started breeding pretty fast. Within 3 years, I had my first clutches, first clutch of carpet python. And then I would have only one clutch here or there, right? Skipping years or things like that. But so I have no idea. Let's say I produced 1,000 animals. I wouldn't be surprised if I produced 1,000 animals easily. Because there's like last year produced 140-ish. This year is only about 60. The year before 120, 130. Like if I keep going back and back, like there's a good amount. So if I produced 1,000 animals and this is my first chimera ever, what's the odds? Maybe 1 in 1,000 babies. But then again, I've also produced one two-headed snake ever. Like how often does a two-headed snake appear, right? You remember that two-headed snake I produced?
Yep, I remember. And I've produced snakes with no eyes, Brazilians. Um, so yeah, it does happen, but how often? I don't know.
So going back to it, I would say that it's really rare to have it. Can you put a price on something like that? I mean, I'm sure it's
I'm
worth
sure
something.
somebody can find a price for it.
Yeah, but like
Right?
if I was
Yeah,
to
yeah,
sell an albino head granite, I'd probably get like $400 for it, give or take.
yeah.
It's probably what its value is, especially being a 2.5-year-old animal that's almost ready to start breeding next year. So it has a value. Now, the fact that it's a chimera, I don't know. I'll be honest. I probably would let it go if somebody offered me anything decent. But if not, it's just a cool pet that I'll be keeping because I probably won't breed it. But I don't know. I don't know. What do you think? $800 could be worth.
Mhm.
It's worth a little bit more. 600, maybe 800.
Yeah,
I don't know.
about the
It's
six.
worth more because it's cool, and you'll never be able to breed it again or to reproduce it again. But it's a cool animal to have in your house, just like having a
That's right.
two-headed snake, right? How cool is it to? I don't know if you saw the picture of Star
Yeah,
Python.
Star Python. Yeah, I
Yeah.
saw it.
So he just
That a
produced a.
jag, eh?
I think it's a Jag
Yeah,
Exanthic. I think
Exanthic
it was.
jag. Yeah,
Yeah. So he
yeah.
produced a two-headed python, but he produced a two-headed python that is way cooler than my two-headed python. Like his actually has a full bifurcation Y, and each heads are about like 2 to 3 inches further from each other. Like have a good 2 to 3 inch neck, which is so cool. So my two-headed python wasn't that. It was also a coastal. Actually it was a coastal just like him. It probably was an Exanthic because that's all we were breeding back then. But mine, the
Excuse me.
heads were like tied at the neck, so like this. So they had four eyes, they had two full jaws, but the back end of the like at the neck and like the jawline is where they were attached. So you had one neck and two heads. Um, Unfortunately, mine survived and it lived. I kept it alive for about 3 or 4 weeks, and then I euthanized it because one mouth wouldn't open, the other mouth would open, but I don't think it was able to swallow. It probably might have if I would have wanted to force feed it. Um, I felt like if the animal wasn't going to eat on his own, I wasn't going to keep it alive. And judging by the anatomy of the mouth, because one mouth opened with the other mouth, because there was a part of the jaw that was just the back end of the jaw was connected to the other jaw. So crazy cool animal, and it had no kinking in his body. Like it was cool, but it had it had no kinking, but you could tell that it had a bit of a spiral-like look to the body. Does that make sense? So it wasn't right. Like it wasn't right. There's no question. So I did euthanize it, but it's freaking cool. Like popping out a two-headed snake, and his looks like perfect. It
I
looks
know
like the
they're
snake
anomalies for sure.
Oh, but like how do you decide the price on the sale of a two-headed snake, right? Like everybody wants
I
it.
don't
They're
know if I'd
cool.
sell that though. Like,
Yeah,
I
but
don't
if
know.
somebody wants to put it, let's say you have a reptile show or you have a pet shop, right? And you can have a two-headed snake as your display animal. Like that brings in people. Like I find like it could have its own value. If I popped out a two-headed snake that was perfect health and looked good, it would 100% be my pet. I would play experiences all the time. I would be like trying to put the rat right in between both and see if they fight for it. Like like the fact that I've heard people talk about it, like, oh, this is the dominant head. This head doesn't eat, or they're both dominant and they fight for food all the time. So the only way to feed them is I got to feed them both at the same time. But then the rat comes at a bifurcation of the both, and then one ends up doing it first, and the other. Like I've heard people talk about it, and to me that shit's cool. Like it's just for fun, right? It's experience. Like I don't know. To me, like if I had a pet snake, like I'd love it for, like instead of having a pet snake that is like, for example, my first Favel Jungle, she serves no purpose in my collection anymore. But I've had her for over a decade. Like she's my son's first and only snake. She's the one snake that got me back into carpet pythons again. Like she's never leaving. She's just my baby. Like you have your original female het coastal, right? A het, het exanthic that is gigantic. Her name was Diamond. I know because I've had her in my collection so many times, right? That female is gorgeous and she's huge. She is still by far the carpet python I've ever seen with the biggest head. Her head is massive. Like we're talking about like what do you think? Like almost 3 inches wide. She has got a huge, massive head.
She's not around anymore though. So
anyway. Oh, did she die?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, a few years back. A few years back, she died.
That hurts.
It does.
I'm sorry, man.
I have the scrubs now in her cage, so.
Fuck, you're so right. I'm so sorry, man. Like,
talk about it hurt, but I mean, it is what it is. It brought new chat. Like, I mean, yeah. The only thing that I'm that I miss about it is I didn't get a baby from her. I know you did, but I never kept the baby back. So.
I have very few animals left, but I have one. You were right. I have one of her original babies, and probably from the last clutch. It's an exanthic. It is a simple exanthic coastal female.
Are you sure it's not a caramel exanthic? I thought you said
it is. It is because it was bred to my super caramel.
That's right.
Exanthic male. So you are 100% right. So I do have. I'm wondering if I have two. No, I only have one because my other ones are. So I have one original baby left from her, and it is a 3-year-old. So she died how long ago? 2 years ago?
Almost 2 years ago, I'd say, yeah.
Because that snake is 2.5, 3 years old. Like, I didn't breed it this year because it was too small, but this year is 100% ready.
And I got her back in 2010. Yeah.
Now I feel like I should give you that female.
No, it's all good. Don't worry. I don't want any more snakes. I'm good, thanks.
Yeah, but it's still.
Yeah, so you almost got. I did get one a few years back when you did that clutch.
I had two females, and then you sent from her.
some. You sent some to Dawn, and we needed some for the order. And I said it's all good. I was okay with it. You did give me a caramel one, but it didn't eat very well. It didn't do well, and it died. Yeah, it didn't do
I think that one was just never thriving. That was a sister of that one, and it ended up dying. But the other one I have is just like a beautiful, perfect exanthic. Looks exactly like the mom, exanthic caramel. So her colors are different, but I do have one leftover female from that line. It's crazy because that female has produced so many offsprings.
Right.
Like she's produced probably, what do you think, like over 100 babies? But probably around 100 babies.
Way more than 100 babies, I think. Yeah, I think so.
And just
because I had a clutch before I met you, No, actually, no, that's not true. She was bred with you the first time. I had another snake that was just as big. I think that was a mix, but I did the same thing as you did. Some mutt clutches, like in
Well,
those days we didn't know any better, right? So we've
do you think that the reason for her death was keeper issue, like the fact that we overfed the shit out of her snakes a decade ago?
maybe a little bit. So one thing that I had that she got was on her inside of her lip. She got a little tumor or a little growth. So she always had her mouth open. So I got that taken care of and taken, taken out. And I got her on some antibiotics. She got better, and then the growth came back. And then after that, it just got out of hand. It just I took care of the growth again, and then she got an RI, and that's a big snake to have an RI. But anyway, yeah, no, it got better for a little bit, and then the RI came back, and anyway, yeah. So
When you say
I don't know.
took care of it, did you go to the vet and the vet literally like excised it, like cut it out?
I cut it out, but it was the same thing. It was right on the lip, so I just took and I just basically it came out no problems. It just she had another growth right beside it after that, so I probably didn't. It looked like almost like a wart.
Interesting. It was. Did you treat it with Baythro or did you treat it with
Yes,
Cefta?
no, Sefta.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, because
Sefta, and I also went in the mouth. I was using like a
yeah,
like
like a betadine mix.
Benadine. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah, yeah, for sure.
and then
Yeah,
oral antibiotics and
yeah,
sorry, the betadine would be somewhat of it's not really an antibiotic, it's an antiseptic. So
yeah.
oral antiseptic
It's
with
a rinse. It's a
yeah,
rinse for the mouth, right? So
yeah. I
yeah.
mean, it's
But
that's
yes,
crazy.
I must say it was one of my snakes that I really anticipated, and I really wanted to. At one point, I think before we knew any better, it was all about trying to feed your snakes, every 2 to 3 weeks and getting them up to size, and it was all about having a big snake, right? I don't know.
So
Now,
I think that
not so
female is
much.
very. I compare your female diamond again for everybody. A diamond her name is Diamond, but she's a coastal carpet python. Just her name was Diamond. That female is similar to my female from Favel, my pure jungle carpet, where both were such old snakes that they were from over a decade ago. Where man, like I had that snake, and my son would be so happy with it, right? He's like, feed it, feed it, feed it again. Let's see it eat. And I would just feed the shit out of it. Like for the first 2 years, there was no cycling her. There was just feed, feed, feed. To give you an idea, at her heaviest weight, she was 8.5 pounds. So an 8.5 pound carpet python is a snake that is like I don't even know, like that's as big as a tennis ball around. Like it was a good size animal. And she's around, she's easily, no, I would say easily, I would say she is 8 feet. And I know a lot of people say like their carpet python or their snakes are 25 feet long or 40 feet long and all that kind of stuff. She is an actual 8 feet. Most of my carpet pythons are 4.5 to 6 feet. And the 6 feet ones are the big ones, right? But this female, to give you an idea, in their first few years, I would like to. I have the records actually. I think one day I'm going to go. Um, she had 48 eggs. Second year, 46, 44, 43. She's had at least 4 clutches in the 40 range, and like you need a big snake to pop out those clutches. Like I think your Diamond Girl was massive too, and was actually I would argue to say that she was bigger than my jungle. I think yours was even bigger. Um,
Yeah, she was big.
like,
Mine
what do you think? You think she
and
hit 9 feet?
she was about the 8 foot, but just the head and everything else
Oh,
was
she was
just
massive. She
massive.
was.
She
She
was a
looked
big
more
snake.
ancient. Like she had like my girl is still alive now, and she's got a big head.
Her
But
head was
your head,
cool.
the head was bigger.
It was cool. It was like the size of my fist.
Uh,
She was
it was
big.
impressive.
Yeah.
Like a lot of people talk about those gigantic snakes, and I think nowadays we don't have those big snakes anymore because nobody feeds the shit out of their snakes. Like so to give you an idea, I went from feeding my animals way too much to I think I've said it a couple times now on this podcast. Sometimes I think I underfeed now. Sometimes I feel like I need to feed more. And I'm saying that looking at all my snakes, some of them have a little bit of the muffin roll on the side. So I'm
Fudge.
barely feeding my
Fudge.
females, but they're still big. Like they still have meat because you really don't need to feed them a lot. But some of my females might get 6 or 7 meals a year. Because if I don't feed them for 6 months of the year, and then I feed them only 6 or 7 times, like once a month, but when I feed them, like, man, I fed my diamond just 5 or 6 days ago, and I think I said it. She looked like she swallowed a football, man. There was like a good foot area that was not even moving. Like she was stiff as a board, and I fed her one of those like jumbo full size rats, like your big monster rats, and she ate it. But again, I think I hadn't fed her in almost 2 months because I just haven't had time. So, or I just forget about it. Or honestly, it's going to sound bad, but I don't care. But I truly think that it is healthier for snakes to not eat often, but sometimes have a small meal, sometimes have a huge meals. Like I've fed some of my big snakes. Sometimes I'll feed them a chick, just like a chick that's the size of a hopper, because that's what I felt like unthawing. And maybe I unthawed 10 or 12 or 13 medium or large rats, and I unthawed a lot of mediums and chicks because that's what I was feeding that day. And like half the big snakes got a full size meal, and then the other big snakes, like an adult female that's 3 pounds and 6.5 feet long, got a hopper sized chick. That's all she ate, and she hadn't eaten in a month. And I'm like, so what? It's perfect. She can have that and then a jumbo sized rat another week or in a month. And I feel like that sporadic whenever feeding is so much healthier. I have literally zero schedule on feeding my animals. The only ones I try to do on a regular basis are the neonates. So the neonates I try to do once a week, and I'm saying try. It'll be like once a week, then once every 10 days, then once a week, and it's all over the place, but it's still on a much more regular basis. Like if I haven't had time to do feeding, I just feed the neos and I leave the other ones alone. My males aren't very big, but I don't think you want gigantic males. But my females, I got to be careful, especially on females that don't go. If I have a female that doesn't go this year, I am like then I really need to slack because or else they get chunky. Like I don't know.
I agree. I'm the same way. I feel like your males, you feed them once or twice in a year, and that's about it. Just to maintain. That's what I do anyway. Just I make them work for it a bit. More towards the end of this, like fall, I'll give them a little bit more food, maybe. But apart from that, I agree. Some of the females that don't go, like my ivory female that didn't go this year, I'm going really like I'm lacking on her food. Um, I tend to feed all the neonates and all that good stuff, and anything that I want to possibly try to get up to size for that season. Like perfect example, I have an albino zebra male I've been wanting to put in with my het. So zebra het albino female. I know that's my cross project, but I want to produce a super albino zebra. So it's gonna happen one of these days. But it's last year I did not feed her, and I barely given her any food this year. But that male, I've been trying to pump him up because he's not even half the size of her. He's pretty small. He's a 2024, I think. So he should be fine. But he's still got a lot of growing to do to mount her, I think. So, but yeah, no, I totally agree. I just try to get the ones that I think. So, perfect example, like the pygmies. I'm trying to give them a little bit more food, right? Like just the things that I think I'm going to breed this year, I give them a little bit more food. I don't know. You agree with that, though?
I do, but let's go back to the pygmies. So, what do you have? I actually don't know which pygmies you have, or how did you keep back just a female? Did you keep back? What did you hold back? You're muted, my
So
friend.
we kept, as far as we know, like both you and I sex those.
Yeah.
We probably need to sex them again. There were two females that we kept back, right?
And you
Plus the
have an
male.
adult male, right?
Yeah, you gave me the adult male, right? The other
Yeah.
male,
So I
right?
had a 2.2. I ended up giving you an adult male
Yep.
because one male is good for two females, and he breeds both females every time. So you think we held back two females?
Well, I'm gonna get some guy that I know to come over and sex them for me.
Is he like a really good-looking, nice guy?
Well, I don't know about good looking, but anyway, we'll put him to work anyway.
Sounds good. No, I was just curious. So you have a 1.2 as well.
Yes,
Oh,
yes.
can you imagine they both went and my two girls went and we had 4 clutches of pygmy? We would
That means
have
a lot of
to.
work for me. That doesn't mean
I,
anything for you.
that sounds horrible.
It
That
does sound
sounds
horrible.
like
Sounds like a
that
lot of
sounds
work.
like a mistake.
It sounds like I probably will have to take some time off or something. Make that a full-time job. It is a lot of work. Is it doable? Probably, but
Yeah, I don't think
we'll I don't know if we're gonna go that far, but I'm trying to get them up to size, see what happens.
do it. So
But
my thinking is, like, there's certain animals that I would like. I have the 1.2 of pygmies. I would never ever have more than that. I love them. They're super cool. I ended up losing my 2 clutches this year. One to maternal incubation that didn't work out for me because I screwed it up, and the other one I didn't realize she laid a clutch and found them very desiccated, hard as a rock eggs. But the previous years, it's always worked out, right? So, but I don't think I would ever have more than 1.2, man. That is, I don't know. What do you think? Would you ever want more than that? Like, if you produce
no,
babies, are you going to hold them back?
no,
No,
unless it's
that's
something funky coming out of it, but probably not. I wouldn't keep anything. I I would try to make our money back. Like for you, it's money wise, and for me, it's my time. I would love to try to
yeah.
get them going, and then for us to make some money off of it, right? And just to give back to my time that I spent on them, because they're a
Well,
snake that you spend a lot of time with, right?
a lot of time, and so my initial pair I bought for $2,000, um, and I think it took what we finally got back. We finally sold a trio for 2,400 because the guy bought 3 animals. And you know what? That's the first time ever in what, like 5 or 6 years that we saw money back. So I would say the initial pair has paid back. You have a trio, and we ended up getting another pair for. Well, that one we didn't even pay money for. We traded for random snakes we were trying to get rid of. The last of the last weird hybrid crap that were valued at nothing. We moved everything for a pair, which was amazing. That was a great trade. Um, so I mean, we haven't really made money off the pygmies, but they've been great to keep. You ended up getting some, and we've paid back our investment. So at this point now, I think it's more about just if we have one clutch and even a couple of babies survive, then all of a sudden it starts paying your time now. That would be the next goal, right?
I've learned a lot too, so
Oh yeah,
I feel like that's
that's
learning
worth
is
a
to
lot.
me is that's worth a lot, right?
Yeah, 100%. You've gotten way better at the upkeep of them, and I mean, it's one of the
Yeah.
arguably the hardest python species to get going. I think it's right up there because of the sheer fact that they're so insanely small. Like I feel like you hear, I'd say the most difficult species of pythons to get going. You often hear is the black-headed python and the pygmy python. Would you agree?
Yes, I would agree.
Yeah, and I feel like the black-headed would be way simpler because even though you have to force feed it or assist feed it for the first 6 months of its life, it's big. It's really easy to shove a
Yeah.
uh, either a hopper mice or a pinky rat down its throat. It's big.
So when you start with pygmies and you do pygmies, every other snake is easy after that. Come on, I mean, I have no issues force feeding any snakes or for like
Because
assisting them or
everything's
whatever,
bigger.
right? So it's just easier. Um, so you want to go back to where we left off with your history or what?
Okay,
So
and I
where
feel
we're
like I
at.
kind of said everything. Is there? I
Yeah,
don't know.
yeah.
Where do you think I need to go from there? Is there anything else you want me to talk on before we eventually close it out?
Um, maybe not on the history. I don't know if you have anything else you want to speak about. I guess. Um,
I'm not
do you
quite
have
sure.
anything that you're anticipating for this upcoming year?
I'm kind of well. I'm still trying to breed my really two big ones that I would love to hit this year is my roughies. Um, I have resexed those three roughies way too many times. I definitely have a male and I definitely have two females. Um, I need to really be careful now about feeding my females because one of my females is, I will call her chubby. She's got some meat on her bones. The other one is a very nice, healthy, good sized female. And my male is he's smaller. He's probably half the size of the really big girl. But he's, you know, 5 feet long and slender. Um, so they're definitely my number one goal. Actually, I don't even know if it's number one. It might arguably be my number two goals. My number one goal is my diamonds. Um, like
Yeah.
that female, my male is insanely gorgeous, but that female is insane. If I could manage to successfully breed diamonds this year, I'll be honest, I might end up keeping every single one of them because diamonds are really high up on my like top favorite snakes. They have moved up that chain like really really high up. I would argue to say the nicest looking snake in my entire collection is my reduced pattern diamond. Um, and I think if I bred that female to my male, which is an insanely gorgeous, he's not Riverbank Zoo, he's San Diego Zoo. Um, he's got more of the bright yellows in him. He's not a white base diamond. He's really a high yellow base diamond. So I think him with the female will really complement each other really really well. So I'm hoping if they hit it, I'm pretty sure I will not sell one of those animals. I think I would arguably keep the entire clutch just to raise them up to see how they look after a while, and I probably would move some eventually, but that would be a clutch I would keep at least for a year, if not two. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I know you would get some, but moving animals to you isn't selling. Because at any point, any animal that goes to you, if I need it, we're just moving things around, right? It could still be your snake. I can move it in here to breed it. So the best the best way to hold back is to send shit to you. Because when they're at your place, they're still held back. They're not
Yeah,
out
it's a
in the
dumping
public.
ground.
Pardon me?
It's a dumping ground.
You're starting to dump shit at my house too, just for the record.
Oh, come on. That's all good.
Yeah,
Hey,
yes. So it's one of those things where I feel like diamonds aren't there. There's barely any in Canada. There's always finally been like two or three people that have imported diamonds from Star Python, which is like is great. There's a few of them. But I would bet you that there is less than a dozen diamonds in all of Canada. There might be more, but there can't be that many diamonds left in Canada. There's barely anybody, and there's almost no one breeding them. There was one pair bred last year, which was a reduced pattern to reduced pattern, and he got a really, really tiny touch. And that was it. And before him, I don't think there had been any breedings in 6, 7, 8 years. I think the last one before him would have been Aslan.
have you
Mickey,
spoken to that guy since?
I have not in a little while.
Because we
Probably
were
should.
supposed to kind of like get something or work something, but
Yeah, I
anyway,
should. I should
we
reach
kind
out
of
to him.
dropped off. Yeah.
I haven't talked to him or I haven't heard from him in a long time. So yeah, I was supposed to get a baby from him, and I still would love to get a baby from him. The only
Yeah.
thing is, right now I want a baby from him, but if my pair goes next year, I don't want anything from him. Why would I want it when I can produce it my own and all of a sudden I've got everything, right? So it's kind of one of those tough things. There's a part of me that wants to wait to see if I can produce him myself, but if I can't, I really want more from him. So it's tough. I don't know. I don't know what the right answer is because like you only need snakes until you can produce them your own. And buying a snake like that, let's say buying a reduced pattern diamond, it's not a cheap animal, man. It's a few $1,000 animals. So yeah, um, But I would like to get some from him, and ideally, I'd love to work out trades. I love trades, but I'm pretty sure he's a I would like some money type of guy. So time will tell. But we had an arrangement. He just wasn't ready to let him go, and he was still feeding him. So, but I will reach out to him and see. The only problem is I don't think I have the funds to buy it yet, so that might be an issue. I don't know if you have the funds, but
You know me, I'll try to find the funds if it comes
yeah,
up. But anyway, yeah, no, I don't have the funds right now, but I'm definitely interested. If the
yeah.
right price for something like that, definitely is an interest. But like you said, if you produce them, I'm not gonna want it either because I
Oh.
know I just gotta wait and
Well,
you'll
if
pass
I
them on to me,
produce them,
right?
you know you're getting baby diamonds for
That's
free,
right, right?
right?
So
So
yeah,
all of a sudden, there's no more reason to buy anything, especially the fact that you ended up getting, you have a pair of diamonds that are completely unrelated to my pair. So we basically have 3 to 4 different lineages of diamonds just between us. Like, we wouldn't need to go anywhere. So if, is that, am I correct or not?
yeah, no, absolutely. So my male is a 2022 Casper London Zoo line, and then my other one is SD, so San Francisco or
San Diego Zoo.
San Diego Zoo, sorry. Basically. So basically, the Casper London Zoo is more of a whitish kind of look to it. Really nice. And then the SDZ is got a lot of rosettes and really high yellow. The only thing is she's only a 2024. She's really starting to eat now pretty good, but she's not very big. She was a very
But
picky
she's a
eater when I.
female, right?
She is a female. Well,
Ooh,
yes,
as
supposed
far
to
as I
be.
know.
I never sexed her right off the bat. I
So,
I trusted the guy that I got. I mean, Star Pythons. I think you know.
so I guess we don't have that many lines because so the Casper London Zoo is completely different. That is a completely different line. My male is the same as your female. That means we both have a
Yeah.
San Diego Zoo. But it would be cool to breed my male to your female because they are very similar. You know what I mean?
Yep.
That would be a nice pair. And my female is also from Star Python. She is pure. I have to look back at her lineage. I actually don't know her lineage by heart, but I think she might. She is a mix. Like by a mix, I mean like either half San Diego Zoo or half
Just a sec.
something
I'll look
else.
it up. I have an email from what's it called?
Star
Philip. Philip. Yeah.
Philip Stursky.
Yeah.
Let me know if you remember what it is. I can go look it up. I can. I'm sure I could figure it out. But yeah. Anyway, we could build a small army of diamonds.
Okay.
I'm going to reach
So
out to him because it would be nice to have one extra one because he's got his lines are different too. I don't know what it is. I'd have to go look
okay.
again
So
at our text.
regarding the reduced diamond pattern mutation occurred randomly at my facility back in 2022 for the first time. Dam and Sire were both regular captive bred 2018 diamonds that were traced back to Godsford lineage and which parents have never produced any RPDs before.
Okay,
So basically, yeah.
so
So
the
basically,
Gosford.
yeah, Gosford.
Now the question is, what is Gosford? Is Gosford just another word for SDZ?
I don't know.
I've heard that.
We're
I
gonna have
might be
to.
wrong, but okay. So my reduced pattern is Gosford line. My male is San Diego Zoo. Your female is San Diego Zoo, and your other male is London Zoo
He's
Casper.
from a confiscated line from way back, but
Yeah, but
technically Rolf was the one that started it. So when you look at it, Rolf, I don't know, Rolf's reptiles are. He's a guy in Germany.
yeah, he's
He's the one
the
that got them, and then Phil got a hold of those, and then had bred those. That's how I understand it.
yeah. I mean, and he's pretty well known. Rolf is
He does. He's got a lot of pride Brazilian rainbow boas too.
uh, that
He's got
that shit
some.
is
He's got
insane.
spectacular stuff. This guy, a really nice guy. I've spoken to him before. Um, it's kind of funny how, you know, with the diamond. So I have another guy in Denmark that has a sister to my male Casper London Zoo, and I've made friends with him. And every time we post, Rolf will comment on, "Hey, these are my babies," you know. So he's very proud of that. But it's kind of neat to see that all come through, right? It's I don't know, it's awesome.
Yeah, but I love like the few snakes that I've sent in Canada from my collection. Whenever I see people posting, I'm like, oh my god, some of them are gorgeous, and it's like, how did I let that go? But you can't keep everything. So, but it's so nice to see some of your babies, like especially when they're from like prized pairings that you really wanted those, and you let only a few go. And I feel like that's kind of that, right? So, anyway, so going back to the initial question, so roughies for sure, diamonds for sure, are right up there. Then after that, my next like I'll probably do pygmies again. I'll do inlands again, but they're nowhere high up. Whether they produce or not, I'll be honest, I don't care. They're cool. I've now produced so many inlands and so many pygmies that I'm good. Jungle wise, again, love jungles, but it'll be just fun projects. There's nothing really I'm looking forward to because I kind of hit the plateau of what they can look like. Now I'm just selective breeding for higher yellows and deeper blacks. Papuans, I'm really looking forward to trying for a visual to visual exanthic granites, which should be kind of cool. And lastly, out of all the carpets, if there's anything I hit on, is my coastals. I've been doing horrible with coastals. It's been 2 years in a row that I've had almost no coastal production. This year I produced one baby coastal. One. Like, who produces one baby? I had a one clutch egg. So, I mean, and he's at your place because he's a tiny little guy. And so coastal
Finally
wise,
shedded.
oh, did he?
Yeah, he shedded, but hasn't eaten yet. So
Yeah.
we'll get her going. We'll get him going.
If you have a chance, take a picture. I'd love to see what it
So,
looks like.
oh, he's beautiful. I will after this. So I want to ask you the 2023s that I have you bred those yet? So the super caramel clutches, het exanthic, not the hypo and caramel, but just the caramel stuff.
So the
I have a
caramel
lot of that
stuff,
stuff.
I tried to breed your females with my male this year.
Yeah,
They locked up and they didn't produce.
they'll be
So
ready this year. Oh,
so
they're huge.
your females were like on the cusp of ready to good size. I only have one female from that year. Mine wasn't ready. I didn't even pair
They
her up.
weren't
I felt
ready?
that she
No,
wasn't
okay.
ready. This year, 100% will be ready, right? Like she was a 3 year old, so now she's a 4 year old. 100% will be ready.
So how many do you have of that?
Only one.
Only one? That's all you
I,
kept back, eh?
I only have, well, yeah, I think I only have one female left.
Holy shit. I think I have I think I got a 1.3.
Ooh, are you going to breed them together, or are you planning on using my male?
I think that male's going to be good.
Okay,
Yeah.
we'll figure it out. So that would be a nice.
He's really doing well. The male is getting pretty big. He's in a
Nice.
2x2 right now. I mean, I try to keep my males in a smaller thing because save space. They don't need that. Like they're smaller, right? But yeah, he's packing back the food. I think he'll be good to go. If not, I would like to do the same thing I did last year and have that male. I think those will make it excellent babies.
Yeah. So
I would like to get rid of some of those, though. I think I have a little too much.
well,
Eventually,
figure out which are ready or which go, and check the sexes again, and then decide from there. Coastal wise, I've been growing up a small army slowly. So I still have my original three, or I'm going to say four really nice coastals, which are my big female exanthic and my big female hypo tiger caramel, which are both gorgeous. And my two main males is I have a super hypo tiger and I have an exanthic super caramel male. So I have two really strong males and two decent females. I have another female, which we were talking about earlier, the caramel exanthic that I've been growing up that might be ready this year. She's not that big, so she might not. She's 3 years old, but again, I think I haven't been feeding her enough because she's probably around 4 feet, but she's not that big around. Like honestly, unless she starts packing on food, I don't think she's ready this year. I also have one female that that should be ready, which is the caramel. What is it? Caramel head axanthic tiger. Um, so that should be ready. And then I have the entire project that was a pairing from a while ago that are so they are all hypos possible. No, they're all hypo caramel possible super caramel tigers head axanthic. We'll say that 3 times in a row. Um, so I bred that one clutch that we had 9 holdback babies, and those 9s are very much spread between us. And I think we lost one. Well, you have one female that
I have a 2.2 right now, so
yeah, I think myself. I have a 1.3, and you have one of them that I think is unfortunately dying at your place that just hasn't eaten in the year. So I might have a 1.2 instead of a 1.3. But they're insanely gorgeous. Are they ready this year? I don't know. They're getting close. They might be. They might not be. I think they need one more year, but they're getting up there. So they're all like, you know, like your 4-foot coastal that has size, but you're like, maybe it could go, maybe it could not. So
I feel the males might go, but I'm not going to try. But I feel like the males are about to size, but my females are definitely not thick enough and ready for it. They definitely need another year for sure.
Yeah, like one of my, I had put a jungle in with this year that was exactly at that. Like, it's like, maybe, maybe not. And she ended up going, and she produced 10 fertile eggs, and they're perfect, and they're the ones in the incubator, right? So sometimes those 3-year-old females, man, you're looking at them and you're like, she could go, she could not go. And, you know, she had a perfect clutch, and she's bounced back really well. She's been eating ever since. She put on all of her weight, and if anything, now she's growing, right? So I don't see anything wrong with breeding a snake at 3 years old, but most won't go. I'd say every time I've paired up a 3-year-old female, I'd say usually they don't go, but every now and then they'll go. And if they don't go, who cares? Like, she's just ready for next year, and if she goes, she's done well. And maybe it's me, but I feel like a young snake tends to have better fertility than an older snake. So most of my young snakes usually tend to go well, or I'll get a shit clutch. But if I get a shit clutch, it's because it didn't go well. Like, there was either no male, the male didn't pair, and the female tried to go anywhere, or things like that.
So I agree with you with that. I feel like the younger females do better, but you got to make sure your female is ready for it. So I feel like good plump female, or I feel like egg quality could be bad. Like I feel the babies could be a little smaller. I've, I don't know. Does that make any sense?
It could be. I'll be curious to see what that clutch from that small jungle is, because the eggs are the exact same size from the other female that is huge, that laid all the eggs are the same size. I bet you all the babies will be the same size. But
I've had a smaller German female this year, and the babies are still doing well. But the size of Bonnie's clutch and the size of her clutch, the eggs were a little smaller, and the babies were a little smaller. I found they were.
Give you an idea, I had those. I had 2 inland clutches this year, right? Both females are identical in size. They're a good 6 foot, good size female, full, perfectly healthy, good size. Some of the babies, have you noticed, that are considerably smaller than the other ones? Yeah, and I mean, I don't know why.
I've noticed some babies are really tiny, and then some other ones are chunky.
Yeah, so I can't explain the why, but it just happens.
But I mean, like humans, right? You got a small, chubby guy, and you got a big, tall, slim guy, and then I don't know, right? Like we're all made differently. I mean, that could be the way it is. I don't know. Maybe I'm different.
No, fair enough. Fair enough. All right, man. Is there anything else you want to hit on before we close it out? Anything you want to talk about, or because we're at holy fuck, man, we talk a lot. 2 hours and 25 minutes.
That's not bad, eh? We did all right.
I mean,
no,
I'm actually even surprised people logged on, like, because we didn't even tell anybody we were filming on a Saturday
Was there?
morning
I
at
didn't
8.
see anybody log in. So
Oh, you don't see it? There's
no,
three
I don't
people
see
on
it.
right now. People haven't been chatting,
Oh,
but they're logged
okay.
on.
Are they?
There was between 3 and 6 people the whole show, which really surprises me. So, but nobody's been chatting, so which is fine.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to hit on before we close it out?
No, I think we've hit quite a bit. I
Yeah.
don't know
And we
what
have a
else.
really good show next week. Like really, really good show. Should we say
Yes.
it or should we not say it in case it doesn't happen?
Let's do it.
Yeah.
Whatever.
All
I
right.
mean, I think it'll happen no matter what. Hopefully, there's no rescheduling, but that'd be really awesome.
So as of right now, we have the mayor of Condor Town that has agreed to come on. So we're looking
Bill
forward to
Segal.
that. What'd you say?
Very excited. Bill
Yeah.
Segal.
Yeah, Bill Stiegel there. So the
Yeah.
mayor of Condor Town, which is like, it's one of those guys that I've always wanted to chat with in my to try to get a different perspective. I hear him all the time. Like he does all up in the Tree Tuesdays on help me out there.
MJ
MJ
Trap Talk MJ
podcast,
Yeah.
which is amazing. Great podcast.
It is great.
Show. Bill Stiegel is one of those guys that just amazes me. And so I'm really happy to have him on. I hope it happens. If it doesn't, I apologize, guys. But as of right now, he's scheduled for next Sunday at 7. Except
Exciting.
for that, Shan, you want to?
I'm trying to work on a guest too, so nothing.
Yeah, that one
yet.
don't say only because it's not confirmed.
Yeah, I know exactly. But we're working on great guests out there. So
yeah, there's a couple of guests that we really want to get on. Bill Stiegel is really high up on the list. I hope it happens next week, and we'll go from there. Shen, you want to drop your contacts? Let everybody know how they can harass you.
Right. So Shan Melanson at on Facebook or Instagram. Message me anytime, Messenger or whatever. Always looking to chat. Am working on a group page. I am so busy with everything, so for me to sit down at a computer takes a lot sometimes. Eventually I will have. I know it's probably people are just like, it doesn't take long to make a group page, but I plan on doing that and expanding a little bit more on that part. But yeah, how about you, Dom?
Nice. For myself, Dominic Calvino on Facebook. Instagram is Dom's Reptiles. I do have a personal Instagram, but unless you're a true friend, you're not on there. But Dom's Reptiles is the one for reptiles. Dominic Calvino for Facebook, like I said, and that one is mainly snakes. I'll be honest, I'm not one of. I post almost nothing of my life. It's really just animal pictures all the time. Our clutches, it's just better for selling and shit like that. For the podcast, it is Reptile Rejects on Instagram. It's also a good way to reach Michael. Michael's still working on the back end, helping us with the podcast. He's still here, just a pretty face in the background. I assume his hair is growing and it's very, very big. But you guys won't see him until he comes back on when he decides to come back on. So we wish him luck and hope that he makes a hasty return. So, Mike, if you're listening to this,
yeah,
I know life is
complicated. Miss you, buddy.
I know life is busy. We love you. Come back. And
that's right. We want to see that mustache again.
I want to see the hair, man. I want to see the full fro. So to everybody who's logged on, I appreciate it, even though we didn't tell anybody we were coming on. But again, the live, we're going to try to keep it every Sunday at 7. And when we can, we will. But in the end, we're still releasing an episode every week for now. I appreciate you, Shan, for coming on, for helping out. You're good shit. And
anytime, buddy. You know that.
Yeah.
So
to everybody who's logged on, thank you. To everybody listening, thank you. Have a great night. Please click all the little buttons, subscribes, all those kind of things on podcasts and on YouTube. And we'll see you guys all next week. Thanks, guys.